You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent Austen Show.
2 nights of Luke Combs, and it was a pretty good weekend in Jacksonville. Beautiful weather on Saturday night. I don't know about Friday night, but a lot of folks went out and watched some country music performed at Everbank Stadium. And, well, now we get some football at Everbank Stadium. When are they going to play games? That might be this week with the NFL schedule release. It looks like it's going to happen on Thursday. I mean, that's a lot of the scuttle. The NFL hasn't announced it. They usually don't announce it until the Wednesday before, if I remember correctly. So we'll keep our eyes on that. But looked like a lot of people had some fun at the Luke Combs concert this past weekend for a couple of days. Now you get George Strait. And I thought it was Jason Aldean. It's not Jason Aldean. It's Stapleton. Instead this week. So there you go. For you.
Is George Strait opening, or how does that work? 'Cause I feel like Stapleton's a kind of like a big Stapleton. Stapleton is a big name, though, too.
I know. It feels like he'd be like the bigger name now, but I still
kind
think
of
it's
new school
George Strait's
school.
show. Yeah, I think it's kind of like I wonder how that does work, right? You take like a little bit of backseat. Like right now, Kenny Chesney's doing a show, and Zach Brown Band is with him.
You okay? Gotcha. Yeah.
But it's like Kenny Chesney's tour.
Yeah.
So is that like a new thing? I don't know, in the country music genre, or instead of opening acts, you're kind of getting dual acts? I don't know if that's a thing. I don't pay attention enough to it. But I agree with you. I was kind of thinking the same. I'm like, okay, well, is that an opening act or a side act, or how does that work?
You probably got to go Stapleton opening. I mean, I just feel like George Strait's like the legend.
Yeah, because there's some reverence there, right?
Yeah.
So like you almost do that, you hat tip a little bit. But I don't know like how it's viewed. I don't know what it's called. I don't know if it's like a new thing. I don't know if that's other genres of music too, where you have two big performers that have their own thing. Now, and festivals and other deals like that, you'll get a bunch of headliners,
of course,
right? But kind of has a little bit of a morphs into that, I guess. I'm not sure. From music to roasts, did you watch the Tom Brady roast?
Saw the clips. Was watching the Stars nights or whatever. So I was watching
which was,
that.
By the way, a fantastic Game 7.
Exciting Game 7 for a low-scoring affair, but still an exciting game nonetheless. But I definitely saw a lot of the clips from that roast.
You know, so people like, not everybody. There was a few comments on social media because what I said, I saw the clips floating around.
Okay.
And I was like, I didn't even know the roast was happening Sunday night. Like, it just didn't do anything for me. That was my point. And of course, now you see it in hindsight. People are like, oh, that's because you just don't like the humor. I was like, I hadn't even heard a joke yet or a roast yet. I was just saying it's not on my radar. Like, I don't really care to see Tom Brady and all these other people gathered around in a room. Now, that being said, some of the stuff was pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
Some of the stuff was, whoa, they shouldn't be tweeting or sharing that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what roasts are. Like, I feel like roasts are kind of like the last acceptable forms of comedy.
Is it?
Yeah, because I always feel like, you know, people feel a certain type of way of certain things, and I think comedy is open for interpretation, open to anybody. But I felt like, yeah, I mean, they definitely pumped the gas a little bit in that roast. Even Dana White made an appearance.
Dana White?
For like 30 seconds or a minute.
Nobody's safe in a roast because Dana White got roasted quite a bit.
Yeah. So that was... Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw a lot of the clips. Basically, what somebody did was compiled the funniest parts, which I appreciate.
Oh, okay.
And then I went in there and watched like 10 minutes of like the funniest parts of the roast.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And again, what's interesting about this is what some people view as funny and what other people view as funny can be totally different.
Of course, man. It's the beauty of comedy.
Yeah.
It's an art form.
That's you said something there, though, like that. Is it the last form of like, hey, it's okay? Who was it again that was on Saturday Night Live? It was very edgy. Gosh, what's his name?
I mean, there's been a couple people.
We were talking about it a few weeks back.
Okay.
No. He's just on like a month ago.
He hosted?
Yeah. No. I'm not so bad with these names.
Yeah.
He hadn't been on
so
forever. It got canceled from him.
Oh, you're talking. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Shane Giles, right? Yep, that's who it is.
Shane, yes.
Yeah, Shane Giles. Brent didn't even know his name.
It was Shane, but is Shane Giles?
Shane Gillis, whatever. Shane Gillis, Giles. Yeah.
That's right.
Shane Gillis.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but that was kind of viewed as whoa. By some, right?
No, for sure. By some. I mean, the one that really sticks out to me was when Bill Burr hosted, this is like 2 or 3 years ago, and he did like an 8 to 10 minute monologue. And like that really rubbed some people the wrong way. Yeah, just because he got in a race a little bit and everything. But like the beauty of that is that Bill Burr is married to a black woman, which people didn't realize. So then, like when that came out, I was like, oh, okay, maybe we shouldn't say all this stuff about Bill Burr. But no, I mean SNL. It's funny because I feel like now they try to cater more towards like younger generations, right? Like with like, I mean, Dua Lipa hosted and performed, but whatever. Some people are into that, not me. But then sometimes they bring back like the old school like shock value comedian, and then that kind of like gets aroused over everybody.
Yeah, I don't know. Is a roast especially, or sometimes even comedy, supposed to make you uncomfortable? I was thinking of that yesterday because I'm like, how many people is this making uncomfortable? Like, there's some things I don't fall in the same line of humor as a lot of or some other folks.
Yeah.
And then some others I do. Like, I'm just like off and on with it. I can't figure myself out when it comes to it. And I would probably be in the minority. Even stuff that a lot of people find hilarious, I'm just like, yeah, whatever, right? So again, to each their own. Like, and I have no problem with it. Mm-hmm. But I was sitting there yesterday watching some of the clips, and I'm like, this is not going to fly in today's world. Like, this is just but then I'm like, well, maybe the edginess, the uncomfortableness, like, that's the line. Like, you kind of toe that line as far as you can go. I mean, even Brady himself, I mean, to go to 9/11 is a dangerous play.
Yeah, and once again, the highlights that I saw, where we got the most upset was talking bad about Robert Kraft, which, all right, man.
I know it. Did he really get upset? That was interpretation, right?
Yeah, I guess that was interpretation.
But if he really got upset over that,
yeah.
And then other stuff that was said, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Like, listen, I'm not going to like go down the rabbit hole of the Constitution and freedom of speech and all this stuff when it comes to comedy, but I will say this. I can take you to an art gallery, Brent, and we can stand there and look at a painting. And I can feel a certain type of way about it, and you can feel a certain type of way about it. And odds are we probably won't agree with it, right? Because it's all for our own interpretation. Well, comedy is an art form as well, right? And I think, whether it's people getting offended, whatever you want to call it, that art form has kind of, I think, gone downhill a little bit just because you have to watch what you say now. So, like, every, once in a while when these roasts come out or anything, you can kind of let loose and let the fur fly, if you will. I think it's a beautiful thing. I mean, yeah, if you're offended, that's your right to be offended. But once again, I consider it an art form, and it's open to interpretation.
Okay, so how much is real and how much is not? Because the Deflategate joke, everybody now interprets as, okay, you just admitted to cheating. I don't know about everybody, but I saw a lot of that floating around. So, I mean, I didn't take it that way. I mean, if it's a roast, you play that line, right? I mean, I didn't come away thinking, oh, yeah, he just admitted guilt.
No, I mean, I think he was just having fun with it. Yeah, and that's all that is, man.
Yeah. So basically he said if he missed it, he's like, they spent $20 million investigating Deflategate. He said, if you just gave me the $20 million, I would have admitted I did.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So why did Brady do it? Like, why would he do that? He doesn't seem like the guy that would.
Well, that's why you do it.
Yeah, because of that. Because it's a little bit of the unknown.
Yeah, like I think that they might have had a roast for Gronk a couple years ago in Boston, if I remember correctly, and like. But of course, it's Gronk. There's some stuff to make fun of. Like with Brady, a little more, it seemed like a clean cut kind of guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
new material the last couple of years.
New material the past couple of years and everything. And obviously, like, arguably the greatest football player of all time. I mean, it's going to bring an audience. It's going to bring reaction. And it was the talk of Twitter last night. Yeah,
it was. Like two things. So I read up on it a little bit more. I'm like, why is this happening? I was a little curious of. Because, I kind of missed the lead-up, or if there was a lead-up, which is not surprising. But so I guess Netflix is trying to get back in this game. Like, this is an old-school game, really. Roast goes all the way back to, like,
oh, yeah, I mean, Shaq,
mid-1900s.
Shaq doesn't remember, I mean, it's
but I mean, like way back. Like, with stars and other things.
But I'm saying, like, they're a prevalent thing. This was just hyped up because of Tom Brady, but roasts happen all the time.
Yeah, like, Jeff Ross, is that his name?
Yes, that's his job.
I didn't even know him. Mm-hmm. Honestly.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean,
even know.
He's a stand-up comedian, but he's known for being like the roasts. Yeah, the roast.
So that's a pretty wild thing to be known for, too.
Just grilling people? Sounds like the life to me. Now people give it back to him,
I was gonna say, because you got to have some guts to be able to just stand there in front of somebody to say some of the stuff that's said.
You got to have some guts and have some thick skin because, I don't know, as a comedian, like, it's my goal to like sell out like arenas, you know, and like stadiums and everything, and maybe star in movies one day, you know, like a la Kevin Hart, you know, to Dave Chappelle, Bill Burr. Like with Jeff Ross, it's just like, dude, you're like the roast guy.
Yeah, it's kind of like
I'm not sure. I mean, and he's masterful at what he does, so I'm not taking anything away from him. But like, it's funny how like in the comedic world, like some people gravitate more towards like those big roles, those movie roles. Some people are kind of like, you know, like a comic. They just kind of stick to the old school, playing in, you know, smaller venues, but like being, I think, a little more raunchy. And then you have guys or girls who are just really specialized in roasting people.
Yeah, I was reading back on it. Don Rickles was that guy.
Yeah.
Right? And so I guess he's kind of like the new...
Made an entire life off it.
Yeah. So which is also fascinating. But anyway, Netflix trying to get back. I got to believe they hit a home run with this thing. Because everybody was talking about it. What I was going to say is the schedule maker, whoever did a great job. Because what was going on last night? This is all anybody was talking about.
No one cared about hockey.
Yeah, a little basketball. Yeah, great NASCAR finish we'll get into. I mean, you got some sports stuff, but you didn't have like award shows or big something coming out. Yeah. I mean, it was on the tail end of a weekend where there wasn't a big talker, and whether you get lucky with that or not, but they had everybody talking about it. Yep. I mean, that's what the whole sports world was. And I'll say this again though, this is the sports world capturing people. Like this, our sports world is wild to me right now. Again, I live in a TV business where we've been told for 20-something years, 30-something years that sports in a newscast doesn't matter, right? And so, like, it's just wild how much sports is at the top of our, you know, discussion points on a daily basis, but on a Monday morning, each and every, doesn't matter where you are. And now we see it all over. If you're watching CBS this morning or if you're watching in the evening, like there are sports stories in there. The NFL obviously dominates and I think is a big driver of network television. You see a moment like this with Netflix and all the other things like QB that Netflix has done and how they're helping like tie into the sports world. It's not the only thing, by the way. Like I don't believe that, but it's a major driver of getting people talking. And there is a population, too, that exists, which has always fascinated me, that, like, has no clue what's going on.
Yeah. No, right? For sure. Yeah,
like, they really, that exists, which is wild to me. But, like, my mom sometimes reminds me of that.
Yeah, I got you.
When I have a conversation with her.
Yep.
But that's kind of cool, too. But, again, I think they hit a home run. My guess is they hit a home run. I don't know how they even do it. I don't even know if they do ratings or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt they disclose them just because why?
You don't need to.
You own it, right? So there's nothing really to compete against. I mean, maybe they'll pull out some numbers, but no, I'm sure they hit a home run.
I've seen a lot of people say, like, who's next? Like, who will be the next one?
Yeah.
A lot of people throwing out a guy like LeBron James, you know, Aaron Rodgers.
LeBron James, Aaron Rodgers, Tiger Woods.
Yeah,
has there been a Tiger Woods roast before?
I don't think so. Or not. See, that was my thought on this. Like, how many of these things get actually like televised and publicized? Usually, it feels like they're very behind closed doors, and maybe you'll get like a snapshot of a cell phone video of something. But that's it. That's what was different for me on this one is that this was in front of the whole world.
Yeah. No, it's it's
stuff being out there on Twitter is like, whoa, I'm not sure. Like I've clicked on something, Steph's like, what are you listening to?
Oh, Brent, it's Twitter. Come on, man. Now it's the Wild West out there. I mean,
she was offended.
Oh yeah, there's Twitter right now. It's the Wild West. I mean, you have the roast clips. You have Kendrick Lamar and Drake, and those people are. It's a great time to be alive right now on Twitter. Is all I'm going to say. Because man, that was my weekend.
I was going to say, give me an update on it because I saw that floating around. But here's the deal: I can't catch up to that.
Sure, you can. Like, I don't know.
I have no idea.
It ain't for you, and that's okay.
Well, it might not be for me, but I'm like, I feel like you've been mentioning this for over a month.
Yeah,
and so now I feel like I don't even know where it started. Where it's in the middle? Are we at the end? Who's winning?
I'm just saying.
What's the latest?
I think Casey was running the board when we were breaking it down originally. And it was J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, and Drake. And J. Cole puts out this whole thing started because Kendrick Lamar said he was the best rapper in the game. Forget a big three, because the big three's been Drake, J. Cole, and Kendrick Lamar.
All right.
Kendrick Lamar said, forget that. It's just me. Boom.
I'm on my own mountain.
And that started almost a war between the three. J. Cole put out a whole album, and in that album, he put out a diss track to Kendrick Lamar. A day later, J. Cole apologized for the diss track and said, I don't want any smoke, I'm out. So J. Cole had the foresight to say, hey, this could be a lot of time, effort, and energy that I don't want to get into. I'm out. So J. Cole essentially puts out the first rapper ever, I think.
He started it.
The first rapper ever to put out a diss track about somebody and then take it back a day later. Unheard of in the hip-hop game. So then you had Drake and Kendrick. And so Drake put out a diss track, and Kendrick was just MIA. And I haven't talked about this, like, Kendrick, where you at, man? Right? Like, we're depending on you here, because I was on Team Kendrick, right? It was about a week, maybe 10 days, and then Kendrick dropped something. All right, cool. We're back in the game. Now it's a rap battle again, right? So then Drake releases something. This has happened over, like, this past weekend. Drake released another track, and then without any warning, Brent, Kendrick drops one. Oh, you think that was enough? No, over the top. Kendrick drops another one, and it started out by like saying like, "Hey, you aren't the GOAT. You're not that good," and then it turned into, "Hey, you're a bad father." To Kendrick, "You're a bad father. Your son's a disgrace," and got super personal.
Oh,
okay, and that's where we're at right now. So Kendrick dropped back to back, and then Drake dropped another one. And it was almost like waving the white flag a little bit, I seem like, and now we're waiting for Kendrick to respond again. But here's how intense this whole thing is, Brent. You know what's bad when your friend circle, your best friend circle, they all have families. I go, "Hey, man, Kendrick dropped a new track last night. Let's let's break it down." He's like, "Man, I'm with my family right now. Give me like 5 minutes." Because you have to like leave your family to go to a room to like really like listen to the disc. Because, it's like trying to break down like a Christopher Nolan movie. Like it can be confusing.
Was it good?
Fantastic, Brent.
It was good.
I mean, I have Kendrick up big right now in the scorecards.
Do you? That's what I was going to ask you. So we're in this race.
Yeah. I mean, J. Cole conceded, so you're out. I have Kendrick up 10-7 right now.
Wow.
In the scorecards. I think he's crushing him.
Drake's going to need a big right hook.
Now, I'm a little biased because I'm more of a Kendrick guy than a Drake guy.
I was going to say you'd offer that earlier.
Yeah. But I think just in terms of the beats, in terms of the playability, which I've listened to the Not Us Now. I've listened to it, I don't know, 35 times, Brent, on the iTunes. I think in playability, I think in wordsmith craftsmanship, I think it's Team Kendrick all day.
Is that what the public feels like?
I think so.
Do they?
I think if you follow hip hop and everything, you have to give to Kendrick. Now, if people disagree with me and you're on Team Drake because you live in Canada, please let us know in the comments. But I think Kendrick's killing him.
Is this common over the years?
Brent, it's rap beefs. Yes, man.
But is it amplified because social media now? Like if you had this 20 years ago,
oh,
you wouldn't
Brent,
see it as
if you had Tupac and Biggie back in the day
that's what I'm saying, on social media, right?
Yeah. That would have been unreal. But yeah, it's
but
amplified
is this like an
now
every decade thing? Because I don't feel like I've heard of this.
No, I mean you had Drake. You had Drake and Meek Mill. You had Drake. Drake's in
the middle of it.
You had Drake
Drake's
and Pusha
polarizing.
T. Well, so the Drake Pusha T. I mean, Brent, I can write a whole book about this, and we can do a whole TED Talk sometime. Maybe a separate podcast about just
that's probably a good idea.
beefs.
That one probably won't include me.
Yeah, but the Drake Pusha T saga was famous because Pusha T outed Drake for actually having a son that nobody knew he had a son.
Oh,
so that was big news. And Kendrick revealed supposedly that Drake actually has a daughter as well. He's been hiding.
Wow.
So yeah, big time beef.
Somebody tell Drake he's got some kids.
Big time beef. But there's nothing like a bunch of 38, 37-year-old men, 36-year-old men with families that have to leave their families and go sit in secluded rooms so we can all listen to this thing together and we can break stuff down.
Well, on top of all that, we did have some sports like the Kentucky Derby and NASCAR finishes. Did you see those?
Well, I watched the Derby. So here's the thing with the Derby. Obviously, I had some stake in it because you bought the tickets.
That's right.
Right? So like that
now you're locked in a little bit.
I was definitely locked in. You can't have a 3-hour Kentucky Derby coverage thing.
No, it was more like 6.
Okay. Well, I watched it for like
you could just
an
texted
hour.
me and I would have told you what time to turn it on.
No, for sure. Because I was trying to like watch like the expert breakdowns and everything.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Well, did you see the one breakdown was pretty darn good?
You showed me the one breakdown, and that was legit. But, hey, there's like 100 experts, and no one was really right except that one girl that you shared on Twitter.
She nailed it, by the way.
She nailed it, and she was standing next to a guy who was wearing a winter coat, which I still don't understand. The guy was wearing a North Face down winter coat in the middle of Kentucky in the middle, of May. So that makes zero sense to me, and it was super distracting. Not sure where that guy was from. But overall, I feel it's like at least with college basketball and experts break stuff down, like, okay, like, yeah, UConn, we get it. They were really good.
Yeah.
All right. Enough said. I mean, you have all these experts here, and you pay them all this money. You give them all this TV time. Y'all weren't even close.
Yeah, it is an animal.
Fierceness, huh? Well, it is an animal. Okay, I guess.
I mean, it's hard to predict.
I mean, I had to hear fierceness so much. Well, fierceness, you know what?
Funny
Funny
how they shoved that horse, right?
Yeah.
Up to the top of the board.
Down all our throats.
Already, and everybody wants to side that way. It's just human nature, which made her prediction so good.
Yeah.
Because she didn't do that. She took 18-1, Mystic Dan to win it. But, I mean, the bottom line is this, like, I think it's harder to see that kind of coverage because you don't relate to it, right? Like in basketball, you can understand it. Like I like horse racing, but I still don't like fully understand it.
Yeah.
Yes, and you're right, Glenn. Randy Moss and Jerry Bailey are fantastic. Like really, really good. Randy Moss, not the one that was at the roast last night.
Yeah,
There's another Randy
yeah.
Moss, the bald-headed guy that does horse racing.
Yeah.
Very good.
Cool.
But the bottom line is this. The finish was fantastic. Like the 2-minute, the Derby's really cool. And look, here we go.
Cool.
Look what we got in NASCAR and in the Derby.
Yeah.
And I understand they're not like the highest of profile sports, but I mean, we love sports. We love this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. That was the closest cup race finish. Kyle Larson won by .0001, closest ever. We've had 2 of the top finishes in the history of the sport this year, by the way, in NASCAR. And then obviously look at the photo finish up top with Mystic Dan getting the win. So it's good stuff. Yeah. It's actually a really good sports weekend, especially for those 2 sports to capture attention.
Yeah, no, it was a great sports weekend. I definitely made the mistake, Brent, of watching too much of the Derby coverage. But I also kind of got thrown in a little bit because like they break down the fashion and everything, and they talk to all the owners and stuff. So it's just
they actually do a really good job with their coverage. But 3 hours of it probably a lot for you.
Yeah, and also it seemed like I guess it's tradition. Once again, this is the most Derby coverage I ever watched, and that's what a $2 whatever ticket that you bought me would do.
Got you lured in.
I had some time though too. We had the weekend pretty free. My son lost his game, so we're done with football.
Oh no!
By the way,
I should have went.
Hey, that's another conversation we'll have later.
We will have it.
I may have had to tell a coach to settle down on the opposing team.
Oh,
which I
here we
don't
go.
Which I don't take pride in whatsoever.
Oh, the next 10 years are going to be fun for you.
Which I don't take pride in whatsoever. But no, with this Derby coverage, I've noticed like so. When they interview, is it the trainers or the owners of the horses as they're walking to wherever they're walking to on the dirt field?
It could be a little of both. Yeah,
you can tell that some of these guys have never been in front of a camera in their entire lives, it seemed like, because some very awkward. It's almost like the interviews that you get with Jeopardy in between like the rounds where it's like, hey, tell us about yourself. And it's like, hey, I'm like the smartest guy in the world, but guess what? I'm not much of a people person.
That's right.
That's right. I can't have everything.
I've never had this conversation before.
And that's kind of what I felt like a little bit with some of these horse owners, where it's like, all right, you're probably busy, training these horses. You don't have time to like get in front of cameras and everything. So that was a little awkward.
Yeah, I think there is a little bit.
Especially as you're walking. You can't slow them down and just stand still.
Nah, it's kind of part of the theater of it. Okay. But it is it was the most watched Derby since 1989. And I was like, I didn't get that.
Gambling, huh?
Well, but people say it's not necessarily, but they're counting more households and bars and other things like that now than ever before, I guess. There's a little bit. It's not like drastically more, but it was just a notch above a lot of other ones. Really, I was looking at it with Ben Becker yesterday. It's like the Derby actually is usually in a pretty good spot of viewership.
Yeah.
Now it was down a little bit last year with 14 million or something, but it got up to 16.7. So, but I was curious too. I thought it would be betting. I mean, betting is so widespread. Betting is so much easier. But horse race betting has always been attainable. Like you could do that. Mm-hmm. So maybe betting a little bit, but some folks said, nah, I don't think that was it.
Yeah, I'm just laughing. I'm laughing at the comment from Glenn C. And I never look at the comments either. And now it's like now I'm glued to them.
By the way, I've also heard the mint julep is terrible. I've never had it.
You never had a mint julep?
No.
Refreshing.
If I'm going to have a mint julep, I'm going to have it when I'm at the Derby.
Sure. But you never had a mint julep outside the Derby? Okay. No.
Why would you?
Just to try it? I don't know.
People tell me it's terrible.
Really? I mean,
like it's a thing, but it's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like my personal, like super sweet, but like I can
so
see.
You've had it?
I've had a mint julep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Brent. I mean, I was in college. I was on spring break. Like, okay, I've done things.
I thought you did that just at like a Derby party.
Kids Corner acting up over there.
Yeah.
Cam, you got something for us?
Yeah, I said we made mint juleps.
And then you a big mint julep fan?
What, this weekend you
Impossible?
did?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, you had your own little derby party.
We
Yeah.
had our little derby party.
Brent, they're super refreshing.
They are. They're very refreshing.
So they're good.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
made it with bourbon. Usually is made with bourbon, but you can make them with gin too.
Okay.
Yeah, had them with gin.
I'd rather have it with bourbon, probably.
Yeah, I'm more of a bourbon guy myself.
Especially in the Kentucky feel, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, with all that. Meanwhile, again, NASCAR has its closest race, so I don't know what that's going to do for the ratings. That was a delayed race in Kansas, but heck of a sports weekend when it comes to that. I think I'm trying to think of, I was almost going to say, can you remember like fantastic finishes? And most of us, when we think about that, we think of like plays at the end of games, like it's against the clock.
Yeah.
The beauty of these two sports is it's really not against the clock. Now there's clock in it for the Derby, but nobody knows what time the Derby they ran. Did they run faster than the lap? Nobody knows that. Nobody pays attention to that unless you're really locked in. But that's what's interesting. We're talking about a finish line. So, I mean, to get like crazy good finishes, we have to go to like the Olympics or something in track and field or in swimming, in those sports to kind of replicate what we saw this past weekend. We don't get a lot of that. We get buzzer beaters.
Sure.
So we get great finishes. But when these two sports this weekend did this, we got finishes that we don't usually see in sports because it's all about a line. We actually had people in NASCAR complaining that the line was crooked. No, serious.
Yeah.
So like I saw this tweet about it. They said the line was crooked, which it actually looked crooked. But the bottom line is that's not the line. Like that's not where they finish or how they register it. There's a camera on the other side that will indicate who won based on where they were, much like the horse racing in a photo finish. Like they have the similar technology. But it was pretty wild when they showed video of the finish line. I mean, it actually did curve, like it wasn't a straight line.
Well, to be fair, in this picture that we're seeing right now on the bottom, that line doesn't look the straightest.
That'd be wild if that's the way they had to determine it.
Yeah,
and it wasn't straight. Can you imagine the controversy today?
That'd be absolutely insane.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
but no, I mean, great. I mean, even like Boston-Toronto, that was a great game. Game 7.
Well, that's right. We got some
great
good
play.
Game 7 and
Game
last
7's
night.
everywhere.
But Boston-Toronto went to overtime.
Yeah.
Well, that was a heck of a pass, but got a little lucky on the bounce.
Got a little lucky on the bounce, but I mean, that's hockey sometimes, right? But man, Maple Leafs fans though in shambles. Imagine losing the playoffs in a Game 7 to the same team 4 times the past decade. Because now that's what Toronto has done with Boston.
So they've lost Game 7 4 times to the Bruins?
In the last decade.
Wow. That is nuts. And just add to it the angst of not being able to go anywhere in the postseason for Toronto, right? Which is an original 6. I mean,
of course.
Proud
and is there anything more heartbreaking than being down 3-1? You come back.
I know it.
And everything's looking great. Austin Matthews is back. You're ready to roll. And never mind. Here's a lucky bounce off the wall. And game over. Have fun golfing.
Well, since we're hitting like every topic in the show, who the hell is Peter DeBoer?
Peter DeBoer.
Yeah.
Don't hit me with it. He's a hockey player, obviously.
No.
Okay, sounds like a hockey player.
To me, he's got the most incredible record I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
He's a perfect 8-0 now as a coach in Game 7s. He's the Dallas Stars coach.
Dallas okay, gotcha. Yeah.
He's 8-0 in Game 7s.
Yeah.
And we don't even know who the hell he is.
Yeah, I have no idea. No idea.
That is amazing.
I couldn't name a lot of actually NHL hockey coaches.
That's actually a very good point.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why aren't they more high profile?
Maybe names are hard to pronounce. No, because we talked about this before. I don't think hockey's part of in terms of the popularity. Now in the playoffs, I think it changes, but it's not up there with baseball. It's not up there obviously with football or basketball. So it's just kind of the second tier, if you will. And if you can't even name a lot of hockey players, how can you name a lot of hockey coaches?
Yeah, I kind of disagree with you. I think it's a little bit different. I understand what you're saying. I get it's not top of mind, but I do feel like either way, the hockey coach, you think about the college football coach, college basketball coach, you think about the NFL coach now, which is more high profile. I think managers in baseball have a little bit of the same feel as hockey guys.
Okay.
They're a little hidden. Now, you have your stars, right? You have your guys that, people know Lindy Ruff or you can name guys. Tortorella, right? The soundbite guys. Even if you just half pay attention like I do to hockey, you can name some guys. Did you even know Patrick Waugh is a coach.
Well,
People-
he struggled, but yeah,
I know, but did people know that?
Okay,
right?
yeah.
But in baseball, you can have a little bit of that. Now, you eventually know some of the big name coaches, right? I mean, New York is so high profile. You're going to know Joe Torre to Aaron Boone.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of coaches around Major League Baseball that you have no idea. Like, is Dusty Baker still coaching Houston? Well, no, he's not. But, like, some people probably think Dusty Baker still is coaching Houston. It's just – so I wonder why baseball and hockey seem to have a little bit of that feel where the coach is less prominent. Is it just the actual idea that we see sideline images of the NFL? In basketball, we see coach huddles, right?
Yeah.
We see interviews at halftime, and although now we do get that in baseball and even hockey, so maybe that makes him a little more high profile. But I think there's a big difference between the profile nature of baseball coaches and hockey coaches and then basketball and football.
No, I agree. I mean, with basketball, it's pretty prevalent because you always see the coach on the sidelines, right? Like I feel like with hockey, like they'll cut to the coaches every once in a while, but it's such a fast-paced game where I don't think there's a lot of time for that unless you call a timeout or something like that and they drop a play, which you hardly ever see in terms of like the viewership of hockey, I feel like.
Yeah, it's just wild. But this guy, like honestly, I had no idea who he is either. And I'm just very casual on the hockey front.
Sure.
So a lot of people, if you know hockey, you really do know him. Like I get it.
Yep.
But 8-0 in Game 7s,
Pretty impressive,
like
man.
that is sick. That is crazy. Game 7s, man. I mean that how much fun's that guy having? Game 7s are awesome anyway.
Yeah.
And this dude's winning them all.
Stressful. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd hire the guy just for that.
Yeah. We have a chat. Brad Marchand will not be kissing the cup this year. I agree with you. I think Florida's got him. I think the Florida Panthers are going to give the Bruins all they can handle.
Well, I mean, the Bruins will have a little motivation from last year.
Yeah.
That's who they blew the 3-1 lead to.
For sure.
Panthers, by the way, I say it all the time.
Got grit, Brent.
Panthers are
Get out the shrimp, get out the cheese, because the Panthers got grit.
Panthers are the best organization that nobody talks about the last few years.
Sure. Yeah. South Beach.
Nobody.
It's hockey in South Beach, man. What do you want from them?
I tell you, I feel like you could move that franchise to Jacksonville. We could do them better.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I feel like we could.
Yeah. I mean, I think, like, it's almost, I mean, I don't want to compare them to, like, the Rays or anything, but I think it's comparable where I feel like once it's the playoffs and listen, the Panthers, yeah, you get lost because the Lightning, I feel like their fan base is a lot better, a little more supportive. But, like, once the playoffs come around, because I have some friends that are Panthers fans that go to every single one of the home games, they have season tickets. I feel like once the playoffs come around, though, Brent, like, the Panthers fans are just fine.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Like
Okay.
they remind me a little bit of the San Antonio Spurs, and the Spurs were more high profile, but the Spurs never felt like people were talking about them, and they would always win, and they were always right there, and it's never got like.
But is
because
that
they were a little boring?
Well, I was going to say,
even
is
with
that because
stars.
their fan base, or is that because they're the most boring team to watch in NBA history?
It doesn't matter the why. We can debate the why. It's just it is. Like,
Okay.
and I think now the Panthers aren't there. I mean, it's not like the Panthers have won like 3 Stanley Cups, and nobody's talking about them. I mean, the Spurs. Obviously, people are talking about them. NBA, a little more high profile. Also, they had won championships. They had star players.
Mm-hmm.
But the Panthers, to me, one of the most irrelevant franchises in sports in my adult life. And yeah, they're good. And people still don't talk about them. We've got some hockey names being mentioned. I like it. Peter Laviolette, by the way. I used to cover Peter Laviolette when he was with the Providence Bruins.
There we go.
He's gone on to have an unbelievable NHL coaching career. Including right now with the Rangers. John Cooper, yes, considered one of the best, no doubt about it, as well. So a little hockey talk, a little horse racing
man.
talk, a little NASCAR
Little
talk,
rap,
little
hip-hop
rapper
talk.
battle, and we got roasts.
Yeah.
Holy cow, are
And
we
we
off and run on a Monday?
And we still have to cover
We need
my
that
whole
damn
thing at
schedule
the-
to come out today.
We do. And we still have to cover my flag football experience with my
Yes,
son.
I can't wait to get to that. We will
Yeah.
talk more about that. I do have some football conversation today. I did a little of this on TV last night, and as we head into May, which we're now into, and 2024 season on the horizon, if you've been following me for the last couple of weeks, I've been saying May's going to be a huge month around here. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to take a step back a little bit and look at the Jags and where they're at as an organization, because last year this time, I said something to the effect of, I think the Jags organization, the best place it's ever been in the history of the organization. Best place ever. And I'll reiterate why I thought that. But what about right now? Like, as they've reset this thing, as they've tried to build this thing going forward, where is the organization at? Is it in a good place or a more concerning place than we want to let on? Where do you think it's at? So we'll get into that a little bit. Jump in the chat on the social media channels, also on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Let's take a break. We're a little late on the break side. We'll get to it right now. We got you up and running. We don't care about breaks, but yeah, we really do. Congratulations to the St. Johns River baseball team. They go back-to-back state championships. Ben Barrow, one of the locals, there's plenty of locals on that team, but had a big weekend, had 3 hits in the championship game, played his high school ball with the Providence Stallions. So congrats to those guys for getting a big W over the weekend in the junior college state championship. They beat South Florida 11-8.
What started out as better people, better projects just keeps getting, well, better. That's Better Exterior Solutions, ready to help you create a better outdoor experience. Check this out. Motorized pergolas are the latest in technology to transform your outdoor space. Beautiful day? Let the sun shine through. Summer rainstorm? These pergola systems close automatically to keep the weather out. From residential to commercial uses, Better Exterior Solutions has products customized to meet virtually any existing architectural structure. With retractable awnings, screens, and hurricane shutters too, if you want unparalleled quality and expertise, you need Better Exterior Solutions. Get a free estimate by visiting betterexteriors.com or calling 904-902-4999. Better Exterior Solutions. Experience better.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access. Welcome to Spring Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence. You can bring your party or event to Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays, here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
I'm Action News Jack's First Alert meteorologist Garrett Beaton. Well, the sun is up and it's going to be a beautiful day.
Sometimes you just need a day to yourself. And Garrett's First Alert forecast makes sure you're ready to go out and enjoy. Garrett and the Action News Jax This Morning team, helping you start your morning right.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Community. That's who we serve.
It's the people. Yeah, it's the people.
Demanding answers. Because the truth matters.
When are you going to do the job?
Listening and getting help to those who need it.
I just appreciate it from the bottom of my heart.
It's about telling stories from deep inside our neighborhoods, informing you, building connections, tracking storms.
Serious storm situation, the kind of which we rarely see.
Holding people accountable.
You were getting at the truth.
That's who we are. Action News Jax.
The friendliest golf course in town, the Golf Club at Southampton. Local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the Golf Club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jax Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the pro shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, hope you had a nice weekend. If you take a look at the Jaguars' first-round picks over the last few years, not all of them here, but obviously you got Brian Thomas Jr. and Anton Harrison last year, and then Travis and Trevor in 2021, Trayvon Walker in 2022. So it's been a nice 4-year run for the Jags, and you go even before that, you would start with Josh Allen. You just got to skip 2020 because that wasn't good.
Yeah.
Stuart mentioned in that Southampton spot about the Action Sports Jax Dream 18 card. I heard that golf course stuff is pretty expensive. You can save a bundle. I'm not going to beg you to save money, but you can help out our Dream 18 charities and save yourself some money on the golf course. $49 for the Dream 18 card. Still available. You use it like twice and, well, you're going to get your money's worth. It's crazy, the golf prices and how packed everybody is. So go get it, Action Sports Jax, dream18.com. And once the schedule comes out, by the way, for the NFL, we then will determine our date for the Dream 18 golf tournament coming up in September. So that is coming up on the horizon. We just always wait until the schedule comes out to make sure we don't have conflicting dates. You never know where we're going to be. Could be a Monday nighter, and then the golf tournament can't be on Monday. Could be in London. We never know. So we will have that probably in the next, I would think, week or so, be able to nail down that date. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Kim Corner here on a Monday as the rotation of folks helping us out continues. The
Kim
bullpen
Possible
is deep.
Kim Possible rocking the Bryce Harper jersey. I think she was in Philly for the weekend.
Philadelphia Phillies fan, 16-3 in their last 19 games are the Phillies.
There's a nice pull for you there, Brent.
How about that, Kim?
I was enjoying it. I was watching the game Saturday out on our back patio.
Yeah, Phillies are
Great.
good.
Looked like a World Series contender. I wonder who had them winning the whole thing.
Oh, would that be you?
Yeah, might have been. Also had the Blue Jays in it. So it's relax a little bit, but
Phillies have, by the way, with this run, taken over the Braves now.
Yeah.
In first place.
Good.
The Braves just 2.5 back, one in the loss column.
in your face, Hamby. Also, rough weekend for the Brewers as they dropped 2 to Craig Counsell.
Oh, you want to beat that guy for leaving.
You want to beat that guy, but you can tell, man, when you don't have an elite bullpen, the guy can struggle a little bit. He was getting a little nervous there for a while with the Chicago Cubs, but they have a lot of injuries. The Cubs will be all right.
We
unfortunately.
will. I'll talk some World Baseball a little bit later in the week. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane, Brent Austen Show, Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. And don't forget, in the mornings, you can listen to Miller and Moulton. We've added them to the lineup on the network on actionnewsjax.com, the Action News Jax app, 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. So fresh content for 6 a.m. all the way till 1 p.m. And on other days, we've got more. We'll share that with you as we continue to go. And we will have a first of its kind coming up this weekend. The Jacksonville Armada will be here on the network with their live match at 7 o'clock on Saturday. Talk a little more football before we talk about your flag football experience. And if you, I think this is a huge month, right, for Jacksonville. We got the schedule. That's fun for the fans. We got the rookies going, and obviously OTAs. That begins the foundation of what the football team will put together on the field. And then you have the stadium stuff going on off the field. I think you could have the Trevor Lawrence thing. I'm not predicting Trevor Lawrence will happen in May, but I'm not ruling it out either. I think this thing could get closer and closer as we continue to go. So there's a lot to watch. So about last year around this time, I remember seeing something to the effect, I thought the Jags franchise was in the best spot it's been in maybe in the history of the franchise. Mm-hmm. They had come off a playoff run, Doug Pederson had been the guy that they needed. They found Trevor Lawrence was playing really good football, has put himself kind of in almost an elite category, right on the edge of it after his 2022 run. They had a nice foundation in place and a good feeling in Jacksonville about the roster that they had built in the locker room and everything else. The stadium conversation was ramping up, and so that was a year ago, but still that was on the horizon that they were doing that. And with that comes like a new lease and no talk about moving and none of those things that had kind of been around, at least, the underbelly of the Jaguars for the last 15 years plus maybe. I thought it was in the best place. Now, it looked pretty good until like December 4th when they were 8-3.
Yeah,
I could say the same thing. I mean, you had primetime games. I mean, the attention on the team was really good. There was so much to like.
Yeah.
Has the 6 weeks of failure washed that away? Have the Jags recovered to kind of, hey, Brent, you're right. You're still in that spot where you do have coach, quarterback, the organization's in a pretty good spot, the stadium deal, the roster looks pretty good. I mean, you should be able to contend. Where's the Jaguars organization at as we reset? We talk about these guys all the time, but how many times do we just pull back and reset and like, okay, where is this right now for 2024? Where is this for the rest of the decade? Like, where are the Jacksonville Jaguars headed right now?
So this question scares me a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It scares me because if you had asked me this question last year, where do I think in terms of the Jaguars, from what I can remember, where were they at their best? Like, you felt the most comfortable? The 2018 season. After they beat New England. I was looking up Super Bowl tape. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is it. You know,
Everyone
I mean,
was.
You come out, you beat the Giants in New York, and then, a hard-fought game against New England at home. You do your thing. You get your revenge. 2-0. Yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars are here to stay, and it's going to be years and years of winning. And that's what I thought. But what I didn't realize was the intricacies of a locker room, what was going on, the disconnect between Jalen Ramsey and everybody else. And I had no idea that was going on until, we saw clues, Brent, but I never want to put together and say, okay, this is going to lead to the demise of the Jacksonville Jaguars for a couple years to come. I never saw that happening. So, yeah, I would say before this was 2018, and we know how that ended. Now, you want to ask me, how do I feel about like this up-and-coming year? Are the Jaguars in a great place or a good place? I think they are, because I think they brought in players now that, it's almost, I don't want to say it's like too big to fail, but you have too many talented guys to let people down, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I am a Mitch Morse believer. I am an Eric Armstead believer. I think, I even think Gabe Davis can add an exciting playmaking element to this offense. I think Evan Ingram obviously has locked himself in as one of the best tight ends in the league. The biggest question mark to me, well, there's two. Doug Pederson, you call him the players or not, but we know how we feel about that. But also it's Trevor Lawrence, because while he might get paid this year as the top quarterback in the NFL, I don't think he's even close to the top quarterback in the NFL yet. So I still think there's some question marks in terms of Trevor Lawrence, in terms of, can he be considered elite? And I think this year is going to be telling. So I think the Jaguars are set up to be in a good spot, in a great spot, if you will, with the new stadium, talk, all that as well. But I still have to see it for myself before I can claim Trevor Lawrence as elite. And if that's the case, they're set up for a good spot, but they aren't there quite yet.
Yeah, so I guess my interpretation of what you're saying, and I probably agree with you a little bit, the floor has been raised.
Yeah.
If you look at 2018 is a good place to go because it's the last time we had this. If you go, the last time prior to that would be before I got here, so I have less of a feel for it. I think I have a little knowledge of it, where they were in like 2005 and 2007. Yeah. Did it look where it was bubbling? What happened there after 2007, in my opinion, is that, well, they paid David Garrard, and at the time it was a $60 million deal, by the way, I think over 3 years. Or was it even more than 3 years? But it was at least 3 years. I was like, whoa, huge deal, right? Now look at what guys are making, $60 million a year. But I wouldn't say that was a mistake necessarily, but they did that And then their mistake was they thought they were one player away. They traded up to get Derek Harvey. They weren't that player away, but you're never one player away. You're just never one player away. If you think you're one player away, that's the ultimate mistake, in my opinion, in the National Football League. And so at that time, where they thought they were headed changed drastically because they disappointed. And then by a couple years later, they were in this new rut, like almost a rut they had never been in as an organization. Even when the franchise started, they weren't as bad as a rut as they ended up in. By the way, you had to unfortunately live through some of that. So then you get to 17-18, which I think is a great example. And what we learned in hindsight about that, so you learn in hindsight 2007, 2008, okay, maybe you didn't have like a quarterback that elevates you through the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years, even though I think it's wrong to say DG was a mistake or bad. Like, that's not my point. But he wasn't the guy that was going to bring you into the next decade. The other thing is you're never one player away. So you learn that. Well, in 2007, it takes another decade to figure this thing out and get another learning example. In 17, obviously, they're very good. In 18, they have, I think, 3 major mistakes they make in 3-18. One of them out of their control.
Okay.
That contribute to the downfall again.
Okay.
And maybe you could add a fourth. But one of them's injuries. And they got absolutely destroyed by injuries in 18. If you really go back and look, after the Patriots game, after they were 3-1, go back and look. I mean, it was a decimation of injuries that year. Totally unfortunate, unlucky. Okay. That played a role into it. But the bigger issues they had is obviously they didn't have the culture that they thought to be able to sustain because they got pushback and feedback from the guys in the locker room. So they didn't have this mesh. They weren't on the same page. From Coughlin, Marone, clearly a couple years later weren't on the same page. But obviously they're guys in the locker room, too big of personalities. Maybe the game's changing a little bit. The fit was just not right. So I think that was a big issue.
But which is so hard to fathom because you just literally came off of a season where you're a couple plays away from going to the Super Bowl.
I know it.
And then you mean to tell me, yeah, we're not going to buy into this anymore.
Yeah, it was weird, right? It's a weird deal from...
Oh, and by the way, you went 2-0. If you beat the Patriots, you lose to Tennessee, but you come back and curb stomp the Jets. And it's like, all things seem to be there. And I get, you said injuries, but like, all things seem to be there to be successful again.
Yeah.
And then it just snowballed out of control.
In Kansas City. Yeah. Blake Bortles had those 5 turnovers, and then they got routed by Dallas the next week, and it was like over.
Yeah.
It was over. They lost it. They could not figure it out. And I think some of that was makeup of the whole building, from front office to team and roster and personalities, and it just didn't. They weren't all pulling in the same direction. Very quickly, that unraveled. The other one that I think is they miscalculated, what they did in 17 was they got this enormous amount of fortune, and that fortune was, 1, based on injuries, but 2, turnovers. And the turnover stuff in 17 was like crazy. Historic here in Jacksonville, historic to some degree around the National Football League. And you can't count on that. Like, you cannot count the next year that you're going to duplicate that.
Sure.
Much like I think this time around, this team didn't quite. Now, they might have thought about it, but I don't know if they had the answers coming off 22 that they stayed so healthy in 22, much like 17. So, and then they got hurt, and they didn't have the answers once they got hurt.
Yeah.
So, but what are the other lessons that you're going to learn? Well, I think they tried to address that this offseason. They said we didn't have enough guys that knew how to handle the adversity, how to get to the finish line, how to play with a target on our back. They go and get the Armsteads, the Darbys, right, the Savages, the guys that have been there a little bit before to hopefully help them out, Gabe Davis, etc. So is that the learning lesson that takes you into the future? Now, there's one other thing that's bigger than what the Jags had in 07, 08, and 17 to 18, and that is the quarterback. You just mentioned it. So the floor we feel like is higher because of what they've done, who they have, but also the ceiling could be higher if you're right. Trevor is Trevor.
But keep in mind, though, if you want to go back to 17, 18, you thought you had the quarterback, or else you wouldn't have paid him what you paid him for that quarterback.
But did you really think you had the quarterback, or did you pay him because you thought you had to pay him?
Well, I think you paid him because, well, look what he was able to do with his team. I mean, he took you to the AFC Championship game. You're a couple plays away from going to the Super Bowl. So, like, I think any quarterback that does that, a la Joe Flacco winning a Super Bowl, like, you have to pay him.
Yeah.
Now, we can go back and forth with hindsight and say, well, you never should have paid him. And, yeah, everybody would say, obviously, you shouldn't. But, like, in that moment, in that time, there were room, like there was justification to pay Blake Bortles.
Yeah. I think there was justification. I think there also was, Like I go back, always says, so like you need to be bold, right? You need to be right in your decision making, but sometimes you need to be bold. Looking back on that time frame, the bold move by the Jags would have been to say, "Man, we love you, Blake. It looks like that was what you just did was awesome, but we think that's your ceiling. We think you just delivered your ceiling." And
it's not how it works, though, Brent. I mean,
but the same thing Daniel Jones and the Giants could have done. It looked like they were wrestling with it. Didn't it look like in last year's offseason they were wrestling with the idea
Jones
of that?
has Daniel Jones played an NFC champ? Like he hasn't had near the success in terms of a playoff run like Blake Bortles had.
No, but Bortles had one more win. I mean, he had a playoff win. George Jones had a playoff win. I mean, it was one more win.
Sure.
So, I mean, they're really not that different in the comparison. And I think what you could feel is, now locally, I didn't know if I felt as much hesitation. I felt like on the outside looking into the Giants last year, I thought there was hesitation. I was like, okay, what do we do? Now, a little bit of that was they had Saquon Barkley too. What do we do? But there was just like, man, we really don't want to pay Daniel. Like, we know we shouldn't be paying Daniel Jones 4 years, $160 million, but we have to do it.
Yeah.
Like, that. What I'm saying is, how can you be bold enough to reset it? Like, I'll give Arizona credit, their organization. I think it's one of the weird things that's been done, but they had a coach and a quarterback as a first-round pick, and they were like, ain't good enough. We're going to go reset this after 1 year. Like, who does that? Nobody does.
Yeah, but how's that paid out for them? Though?
Okay, but at least they that's a bold move.
Sure.
And it probably worked out better than Rosen.
Yes, Kyler Murray is a better quarterback than Josh Rosen,
right?
Hands down.
So they weren't necessarily wrong. Now, the whole thing hasn't worked out. You're right. But my point is, you cannot work out if you stay with the guy. We have Bortles and Daniel Jones, it looks like, as examples.
Okay.
I don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to fall in that category. I feel like, again, his talent level, his skill set is way above those two guys.
But I also think if Trevor Lawrence would have willed this team to an AFC championship, or at least, we'll say that, there's no question of whether you're going to pay him or not.
Yeah,
I think you need to have that in the resume. That's why I think Daniel Jones, like, listen, if Daniel Jones played an NFC championship game and led his, the Giants there, I would have come with you a little more and say, okay, you probably got to pay Daniel Jones. I've never said pay Daniel Jones because I don't think he is the guy.
Yeah.
You know how I feel about it, Brent.
But you were on the Bortles train?
I don't say
I was. Admittedly, I was on the Bortles
I don't say I wasn't like the biggest believer of Blake Bortles, but I got it. Like, I understood it.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it was more of like you're setting a precedent to locker room saying, hey, like, this is our leader. He was a captain, right? Or not? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think he was.
I think he was that year, yeah. He's the captain. It's like, all right, this guy, I mean, I get it was a lot of Leonard Fournette, but at the end of the day, he's still, calling the plays and everything. He's still leading the team. I got what they were trying to do there. Yeah. I really did.
Yeah, let's stay on this. Again, the idea here is, where's the Jags organization? So we obviously compared a little bit, I think, most recently with like 7-8 and 17-18. We just had 22 and 23. A little different, of course. But where's it headed now? And again, I think a big part of this is this whole stadium deal. Like, I think the stadium deal's massive. Absolutely massive. I don't think we talk about it on a daily basis. It's kind of not what we do. But I think it's worth reminding everybody just how big of a deal it is. That when this gets done, if this gets done, what it looks like for this franchise for the next decade and beyond. And in the shorter term, what is this roster going to do this year? And maybe in the medium time length, do they have the guy in Trevor Lawrence and Doug Pederson to lead them through this whole rest of the next decade and into this whole new wave of, hey, we're the Jacksonville Jaguars now. We're one of the elite. We're one of the best. We're one of the contenders. That's a hard thing to wrap your head around. But keep in mind, before the New England Patriots, were the New England Patriots of the 20 or the 2000 decade, and I'm not saying you got to get there, they were not these New England Patriots.
Yeah.
Or maybe they were more like these New England Patriots now.
Yeah,
they are not very good. Like, it can change in sports. It does change in sports. There's stories of the Pittsburgh Steelers like that. Didn't win for a long time until they won. So how do you get to the point where, okay, haven't won, but we're going to win? Mm-hmm. And the Jaguars are on the cusp of that. Or are they still very far away from that? Let's take a closer look at it when we come back. Brent Austen Show here on a Monday. Hope you're doing well and hanging out with us on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot, any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
The boys in blue are back as the Jacksonville Armada men's under-23 team kicked off the 2024 season this past weekend on the road at Naples United FC. In his debut appearance for the Fleet, Luke Granitor scored the game's lone goal just before halftime on a scramble in front of the net. The rising junior at UNF is happy to be back on the field after an injury sidelined him in the summer of 2023.
Having the opportunity to play was just awesome. I had some nerves, obviously, because a year coming, but really thankful just to be out on the field for the Armada.
Next up for the Armada is the home opener on Saturday, May 11th at Jacksonville University's Southern Oaks Stadium. That matchup with Global Soccer Pathways kicks off at 7 p.m. Tickets are available on the web at jacksonvillearmada.com, and those who put down a season ticket reservation for next year's MLS Next Pro season get free admission to all NPSL and WPSL home games this summer. We'll see you at Southern Oaks Stadium on Saturday.
The UNF softball team clinched the 2 seed with a series win this weekend. That means they will get a double bye in the ASUN tournament. They will play later in the week with hopes of winning a championship and an NCAA berth. The beach volleyball team did that and won its first ever NCAA tournament match by sweeping Chattanooga. They would eventually lose to top seed USC, but an historic season for the Ospreys. The UNF golf team headed west for the NCAA tournament. Nick Gabrocek winning Player of the Year in the ASUN for a 4th time. And congrats to the spring sports graduates. Get everything UNF sports at UNFospreys.com.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jacks, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jacks is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jacks 24/7.
Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one-card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One-card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Do you have ugly concrete around your home or business? Are you tired of concrete that is cracked, stained, or just plain ugly? Spartan Coatings' range of products provides a surface that is non-porous, easy to clean, antibacterial, and slip-resistant, all with superior durability.
Living in Florida nearly my whole life, I know the toll our weather can take on a garage floor. That's why I had Matt and the crew from Spartan Coatings transform this space. And the best part, they did it in one day.
It was a professional process from step one. The polyurea and polyaspartic system provides superior flexibility, is 4 times stronger than epoxy coatings, and will withstand temperatures high and low. Plus, it comes with a 20-year warranty. Whether it's a garage floor, patio, pool deck, driveway, or your interior flooring, Spartan Coatings has you covered. To get started transforming your ugly concrete surfaces, call 904-671-3930 or visit SpartanCoatings.com today for your free quote.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
The Jacksonville Armada debuting this past weekend, and they will be home this coming weekend. Go!
Not bad.
Hashtag Battle of the Sunsets.
Not bad. Hashtag Battle of the Sunsets. What was Stewart calling the game?
No, this was on the road.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, sorry.
Nice place, too. Good stadium there. And they'll be at Jacksonville University this Saturday, and we've got some fun stuff with the Armada because they will debut on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network Saturday night at 7 o'clock, so you can watch. Do you want to try a goal?
Oh, no, go ahead. Do I want to try it?
Yeah, I was going to say, did you want to try a goal?
Right now?
Well, yeah, that not anymore. Okay, now Kim's going to put it back up.
Do we have any in the names of these players?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I mean,
number 8.
I could find it, but I don't
Number
have the
8. And as the header, right as rain, go! Number 8, I think, and number 12, go! Yeah, that's all I got.
Very good.
Sorry to the speaker.
That was fantastic. That
Sorry.
was more wind than I thought. I guess I
didn't even warm up. I didn't even warm up for that one.
Yeah, I didn't
Kind
either.
of put me on the spot. And now my voice can be gone. So thank you, Brent.
I mean, come on. It's
And now it's
like
getting
Tim
raspy.
Kirkshin.
Nothing like Tim Kirchin for sure. Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Thank you, man.
Sorry to interrupt all your days with that, but that was just impromptu. Hope you didn't have the volume too loud.
People swerving in the cars on the road. Sorry about that, everybody.
So anyway, like sometimes Twitter just mystifies me. So yesterday I was looking at Richard Deitch. He does a lot of the ratings and stuff like that in TV world. And so he said NBC Sports said the Kentucky Derby averaged total audience of 16.7 million viewers, most watched Derby audience since 1989. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a great number. New out-of-home viewing measurement, of course, a factor too. So that's like a new element there. And I said, wow, why? Betting? Like wondering why the bump? It might just simply be because out-of-home viewing measurements. So Alex Gardner, about 10 minutes ago, says it's like you live in a bubble.
Oh, Brent.
Now, what the hell are you talking about? I don't get it. Am I
yeah.
missing something? I'm not too smart.
I don't know.
But
man.
I'm like, Twitter is for discussion, people. But what's he trying to say? I watched the Kentucky Derby. I don't live in a bubble. I'm wondering why everybody else did.
Brent, I'm wondering why you're giving this guy. Come on, man. It's Twitter.
I'm just asking.
There's going to be haters.
Don't
give the haters time, Brent.
I don't mind the haters.
I know you don't.
What's this mean? What? I don't even know how to interpret it.
Yeah. And his response? Nothing yet? Waiting?
Nothing.
Okay.
I said, or just posing questions for discussion.
This is going to be the new beef. This is going to be the hip hop beef. You and this guy go back and forth. I can't wait.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Alex Gardner is. I'm just saying, that's a weird response to my tweet. I'm almost wondering, if when I saw that notification, I thought he was going to say it about the Brady tweet that I had on the roast.
Okay.
Now that one you could say, okay, you live in a bubble. Yeah, you're probably right about the roast and all these other. I don't even know who half the people were there. In that respect, I do live in a bubble.
Yes.
But in this one, maybe he just responded to the wrong one.
Maybe he did, man. I mean, I can't wait to hear the reaction. But also, hey, Brent, it's Twitter, man.
I know. I'm just telling you how I feel right now.
I know, and we appreciate it. This is an open environment here. It's a safe space on the show, Brent.
Speaking of,
here we go.
Should I give you the random thought of the day?
Oh man,
why isn't this sponsored?
Here we go.
This should be sponsored.
Is this gonna be more like the why do women wear high heels again?
Hey Kim, you're gonna want to listen to
What's the deal with lipstick, everybody? Here we go.
Well.
No, I mean,
actually,
I'll be honest. I'm
not a bad one.
I'm not a big lipstick guy.
It's not a bad one.
Yeah, but I'm also afraid of clowns. But yeah, one said that
that's
to.
not a bad one.
One said that to one of my significant others. I go, "Can you please not wear lipstick because I don't like clowns." And
oh wow,
whatever. I don't want to get into it now.
That's good. Yeah, I wouldn't want to get into it then.
I'll say that for my therapist.
Yes.
hey, we're gonna unpack some things, as they say in the biz.
Yeah, you're unpacking a lot there.
But here's the thing, okay?
It might already be unpacked.
If you wear bright red lipstick, I feel like Clown vibes. Sorry. I said it. Cancel me. I don't care. I don't like it. I don't like it. And that sticks on you if someone gives you a smooch. Horrible.
That is true. It does stick.
Horrible.
How about like the glossy feel, like the lip glossy feel?
What are you talking about? Some glitter stuff like we're back in middle school?
Well, not middle. I mean, not the gloss.
Come on, man. Grow up, Brent. Grow up, man.
All right.
I just never understood lipstick, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's a fair one.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, I'm driving yesterday, and all of a sudden, I see a motorcycle go by. No, nothing wrong with the motorcycle going by, just driving.
Yeah.
And I don't know, randomly, I'm like, I've never seen someone on a motorcycle text and drive.
Yeah, because you don't want to die.
Well, there's motorcycles that look like they want to die sometimes.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, they go super fast. I get
like
that.
crazy.
Yeah.
But I just had that random thought. I was like, maybe this is the way to stop texting and driving. We all drive motorcycles.
Yeah, and what did I say? Absolutely not, Brent. No, absolutely not. I mean, like, listen, I appreciate where your heart's at. Protecting people on the road. I get that. But if you think that over 60% of this population could actually drive a motorcycle, you're out of your mind. There's a skill to it.
I know.
So it's not like a go-kart. You just get in and go. No, the throttle, the clutch. There's a lot of things, Brent. And once again, I'm not going to trust the elderly like I told you in the group text. You're not going to have old people in their 60s and 70s on motorcycles.
Yeah, okay, but we can keep the older 60 and older people on the road because most likely they're not texting and driving as much as everybody else.
Yeah, they're senile, even worse.
I don't know, but they might be senile, but that might be safer than texting and driving.
It's okay.
So
I'm just saying, if we got senile people on the road, the last thing I want to do is be driving a motorcycle.
I don't know, I just thought I could. I feel like I just made safer driving for everyone. Just get on a motorcycle. We can make it a new cultural thing.
You can have teenagers drive motorcycles? Brett, you've ridden a motorcycle. It's not the easiest thing.
I don't want to do it, actually. I don't want to do it.
You're backing out of your own idea.
Yeah, I know.
I'm all for it because I can handle myself.
You can handle it.
I can handle it.
I have no desire to be on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
But I just felt like have you guys ever seriously seen somebody text and drive on a motorcycle?
I've
never seen anybody on their phone.
I've seen somebody at at stoplights because I had this on my motorcycle, like the phone holder.
Oh, okay.
So they'll take their phone off and then text, in a stoplight because in Jacksonville the stoplights you can file your taxes and finish it because it's like a 20-minute red light. Hey, Donna Deegan, so you got a lot on your plate. The stoplights off South Side. I filed my taxes, finished them, and filed them, and I got my reimbursement back before it turned green.
So, by the way, how good is that phone holder? Because you were driving into work one day and lost your phone on the road.
Hey, it's a great item, but you have to make sure you lock it into place. Because if you don't lock it into place, spoiler alert, your phone's going to go flying, and then thankfully a good Samaritan's going to text you or message you on, I think it was Facebook or something or whatever.
That was awesome.
And then
those were the great moments ever.
That was really cool.
Yeah,
I was stressed.
What a great person.
I was stressed, yeah.
So anyway, I'm not trying to change the world here. I just had a random thought, which I do a lot.
Yeah, you do.
And I just thought this one was like, wow. I mean, it is true. Like you don't see that a lot. And by the way, one other note: driving back from the concert on Saturday night.
There we go.
You idiots who race down 95. There are 4 cars in a row, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how they didn't hit me.
Street racing?
And they were street racing.
Fast and Furious?
You guys are morons.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of part of me.
But here we go. You hope they crashed. Yep. Said it. Wishing injuries on people.
I didn't say it.
Can we go back to the motorcycle thing real quick?
Come on, Brent.
No, he didn't say speed. Yeah, just give him a speeding ticket.
Yeah, I wish you'd pulled up. Where are the cops then?
Brent probably called the cops on him.
I wish. I would.
Because first of all, your cell phone's already in your hand because I know you're driving and it's in your hand. So I guarantee you probably called the cops on him. Getting back to the motorcycle thing quick. Yeah, I would be fine. You'd be fine. You're an athlete. You can figure it out how to drive a motorcycle.
Yeah,
and be safe. You're fine.
We can all learn.
Yeah, it's tricky. My biggest thing, though, is what happens if I need an Uber? And you're going to ban cars? So I have to get on the back of a motorcycle with somebody? Because, hey, man.
That's a problem.
6'6".
Well,
probably not going to work.
Rainy days would be tough. Everybody would just be parked.
Rainy days would be tough. I didn't think the most obvious thing of rainy in Florida, by the way. And I didn't even think about that. I'm thinking about Ubers and like having to share a bike with another guy. Like, I mean, that'd be hard, man.
Yeah. But as we go into the future and we have like these Jetson kind of vehicles and whatever else,
I hope
flying
so.
cars and stuff, maybe we should just make them at least have some traits of the motorcycle, though, if we want to avoid texting and driving. Although if the car's flying itself, then we can text all we want.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like eventually they're going to have a setup where like your phone's going to have a chip or something. And like if you're on it in the car, you're driving, it'll sense that and like the car will like stop. Something like that.
Yeah.
Or cars can just drive themselves.
By the way, the street racers are the worst. Like this dude, this guy came so close to the front of my car.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'll tell you, I was a little rattled for a second because I didn't know there were like 3 more coming.
Yeah.
On the right side, this guy came off the left. I'm in the middle lane, really not even going as fast as I usually do. Got kids in the car and stuff like that. And then
these are kids, you think, or not?
Had to be.
Nice cars, though?
No.
But nice. Okay, no.
Like, you guys are morons.
Yeah.
Like, really, that is
No,
gotta
that's
be one of the most dumb things. Dumb things you do.
Yeah.
But this was like, seriously, there were 4 of them.
Yeah.
3 on my right, 1 on the left. But
Yeah,
the 3 on the right came like after, so it took me a minute to realize what they were doing. I'm like, holy cow, these people are crazy. I feel like I'm in South Florida.
Yeah. No,
South Florida driving's a little different now. You get down to Miami, you get a little craziness.
Well, Florida
without
driving,
the street racing.
Florida driving is kind of crazy in general. But no, street racing, it's so stupid.
It is
man.
so
But
dumb,
like,
man.
that's kids. Like, I'm not gonna say I wasn't.
Yeah, I was trying to
16
think
years
of like,
old.
what's the reaction of the kid when they get home? Like those 4 cars, like when they stop, they're like, "Oh man, that was close. You see how close I came? Like, hey, we didn't get
It's
caught."
a rush.
Like, what's
Yeah.
like? I guess that's the rush. But
Yeah, I mean,
like,
I don't know. It's like I've gone
You're a special
130
kind of
miles per
moron.
hour in an Eagle Talon on Wisconsin country roads. I've never done
yeah,
that
but you
before.
did on like a country road.
I know.
Not in non-95.
No, I would never.
On a traffic.
I would never do it in traffic. Heck
Like,
no.
there's
Hell
one thing
no,
to
no.
do that, which I'm not promoting that either.
No, I'm not either.
But
Pretty fun though. If you can,
but like,
watch out for those deer.
In 95, where this was like a high volume, like 10:45, 11 o'clock, 11:15 at night. Not high volume, but high enough volume.
Yeah, no, I got you, man. I'm with you, Brent.
All right, back to the Jags.
Thank you.
Now that we've saved safe driving here.
I mean, you know,
Florida
you're gonna have that's gonna be a segment coming up. Brent's random thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I have so many.
Yeah.
I thought
Sounds like you need a new hobby or something. Man, you've been in your mind too much. Why do you think I'm always training and stuff?
Yeah, I got it.
You don't want to go where this head's. There's no way, man.
Yes.
Nah, we're all good.
Does everybody think about this stupid stuff?
I'm just trying to stay busy.
Back to the Jags. So, if you missed the last segment now, which is a while ago, we're saying, where's the Jags organization at? Your biggest thing is, okay, it's where's Trevor at? I mean, is that just the solution? Because we think the stadium, are you confident the stadium deal is going to get done?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So, obviously, the Jags organizationally are in a good place. I mean, now, whether you disagree with the stadium or not, you're probably not listening to the show if you do. But if you are, like that, I get you have feelings about that. I'm not trying to talk you into anything. I'm just saying the bottom line is if they get this done in the next, 6 months, final approval, you now know the Jags are here. You know you're going to have a stadium of the future. You know that's not a conversation for the next 10, 15, 20, 25 years in Jacksonville.
Can I just say one thing, though, about the stadium real quick is I think it gets done for sure unless something catastrophic happens where it's like you didn't disclose something. And then people feel like they kind of got taken for a ride a little bit.
Yeah, that is not going to happen.
Okay, well, yeah, that's what I'm. I mean,
because they've learned. They've been so transparent from the last stuff.
Like if you're transparent with everything, then yes, I think the deal gets done. I don't think people like being, quote unquote, tricked or taken for a ride, especially when it comes to taxes and money and everything. So if that's the case, you're transparent, then absolutely. Then I think it gets done.
Well, the biggest thing in the stadium is it can't get, most likely in any place, so we just saw in Kansas City, you don't want it to get to a referendum if you're in favor of it, because then it becomes a lot more difficult. But so all that set up, we like the roster right now for the immediate. We think the Jags are going to be a factor, right?
Yeah.
Is it really not just Trevor, though? So you say Trevor, which I agree with. Trevor's obviously a huge part of it. But is it really Doug and Trevor? Because what happens is if Trevor's good and you sign him and everything else, but Doug somewhere in there, he decides to get out or is not in for a long term or something fizzles out and you make a change or but Bulky retires and my prediction is correct, and then they bring a GM and he wants to go in a different way. Like, how much of this is Doug and Trevor? How much of this is Trevor for the next, what I would say is handful of years? Because it's hard to look way down the line in the NFL. I think there's 2 milestone markers to really to look at, maybe 3. Where are you right now? Where are you in 3 years? And where are you in 5 years in the NFL? And to me, that preaches and promotes sustained winning. That's what you're trying to be. You're trying to be in the mix every year. Well, the bottom line is the Jags are 2 years into that. I know it didn't work out well last year, but they were in the mix. So they're right there. Sometimes you're going to be in and sometimes you're going to be on the outside of that. But if you're in the dance, you get more chances to obviously go where you want to go and raise that trophy. So how confident are you, I guess, in this conversation that this year, in 3 years, and 5 years from now, the Jags are still in the mix?
I'm pretty confident. So, I mean, yeah, this goes hand in hand. Obviously, Trevor's the most important piece, but Doug Pederson's a close second. I'm not sure where Doug Pederson is at in his coaching career in terms of, like, how long does he want to do this, right? But we all know that Doug Pederson came to Jacksonville because of Trevor Lawrence. So I almost want to say, like, he wants to see it through, right? I mean, listen, you're a head coach in the NFL. You're a competitor, right? And there is some ego involved. And I would predict this is probably going to be Doug Pederson's last go-around, right? Like, you don't see him, like, okay, for every reason. Let's say the Jaguars just blow it this year. They're horrible, whatever the case may be. They're cursed, win 5 games. Doug Pederson's probably gone. He's not going to get another shot then. Like, I think this is it, right? So if we're talking about this being it for Doug Pederson, then yeah, you want to go out on top. You want to go out and say, look what I did here. And a lot of that will be the emergence of Trevor Lawrence. So I think they are tied together. I don't think Trevor's going to, like, let's say he balls out this year and the next couple years he's a top 5 quarterback. I don't see Doug Pederson walking away. I think Doug Pederson wants to ride that wave and be a part of it. So, it still has to go the right way, but I do like the fact I feel like the head coach will be pot committed if things go right. Now, if they go drastically wrong, then you might have to go a different direction. But we all think they're going to go right. And if they do go right, I think we have Doug Pederson here for a while. Trent Baalke could be a different story, but I do like the fact that an offensive coordinator that became a head coach, a quarterback whisperer, if you will, and Doug Pederson is going to be tied with Trevor Lawrence for years to come.
Yeah, it's a good point. And by the way, your marker and our marker or fans' markers or whatever else on how much Doug has to do is probably different than even Shad's. Like, we've kind of admitted that, right? It's like, they missed the playoffs at 9-8 again. There's going to be a frustrated fan base. I'm not telling you there's not going to be a frustrated owner, but I don't think it costs him his job. A lot of that going forward, if the Jags do take care of business, if they are a factor, if they're in the mix, I think there's going to be plenty of loyalty here in Doug. So a lot of it could fall at Doug's footsteps of, hey, how long do you want to do this? And again, he's still a young guy, so he looks like he's motivated. How motivated is Doug? Or what's the motivation for Doug? Is it legacy to win with another Super Bowl? Because once you get that taste, you crave it. Like, I understand that. Like, a lot of things when we talk sports about coaches that have been around a while, like a Belichick or a Saban or people, like, I'm like, okay, why are you still doing this? Like, you've got so many of them. How much do you need? How much do you need to chase? Brady was a little bit like that. I get the appetite to want to do it again, specifically if you've done it once. Like, if you've done it once, to go do it again, and now with somebody else in a different conference, like, he can make a lot of history here. So is it legacy that drives him? Or do you think it's growth of Trevor Lawrence that drives him in some respects? Because the Carson Wentz thing didn't really work the way they thought it would.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a couple of things with Doug Pederson. Once again, when you're the head coach of an NFL team, ego is involved.
Absolutely.
You don't get to where you're at without the ego. And you could do a TED Talk about the collapse of the Philadelphia Eagles in terms of winning a Super Bowl and then a couple years later get fired as a head coach. Like, how often does that happen? When you win a Super Bowl, the leash should be so long. Like, listen, man, if Doug Marone won a Super Bowl, we would have took 4 or 5 seasons with 3 wins, 4 wins, because it doesn't matter, man. You won a Super Bowl.
Feels like it.
Well, we're going to give you your own statue. We're going to name all the sandwiches after you.
Well, they did all that, and then they fired him still.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I get like Philly is a different place. It's a different animal. I get all that. But to go from winning a Super Bowl and then and once again, like I'm not saying Doug Pederson is to blame here because by our understandings, a lot of it was just the fact that he didn't really mesh with ownership, right? Like Pederson wanted to do things a certain way and they said, no, you do things a certain way, and they had a big clash and that was it. So I think the ego there says, man, I have a lot more. I'm not going to end it like this. I'm not going to win a Super Bowl. And once again, you say respectably, they walked. No, come on, man, you got fired, right? They let you go. You can say you choose. You got they fired you.
Yeah.
So to go from the Super Bowl to getting let go, it's not a good exclamation point. It's not a good period on a chapter you're trying to write. So I think this is a little bit of like a redemption arc, if you will, for Doug Pederson. And once again, I think Trevor Lawrence is the main protagonist in this book. And to have success, you need Trevor to have success.
Yeah, I think it's I just kind of landed on this thought, and maybe it's something we ask him down the road. But I think if you think of what drives him, obviously as a competitor, he's been in the National Football League for a long time, so he loves the game. Like that stuff, all those things are easy. But what really drives him, because he could be playing golf somewhere if he wanted to. I always joked with him last year. I was like, hey, you had a 4 handicap, man. Like, why did you come back to this? You had a Lombardi trophy. You're living in South Florida. You're living in Jupiter. You're playing golf. Life's good. Why? I think those are real questions. I think a lot of human nature says, okay, I'll just keep playing golf. Like I got my legacy has been built, fired or not. But you do bring up a good point. As a competitor, you don't like being fired. You want to go about on your own terms, right? So there's that bounce back. There's like, you made a mistake, Philly. Watch this, which actually showed in 2022 a little bit, and it looked like they were heading in the right direction. But then there is the legacy plays. He's a smart guy. He's been around the National Football League a long time. If he were to win 2 Super Bowls, it puts him in a different echelon. If he was to win 2 Super Bowls with 2 different franchises, if he were to win a Super Bowl with the Jacksonville freaking Jaguars, puts him in a different echelon around the National Football League, right? But then I do think the Trevor stuff is important. He's seen really good quarterbacks, been around him, from Marino to Favre to others. He's been with Andy Reid. To take a talent like Trevor and do what he wasn't able to necessarily get to the finish line or develop the way he wanted with Carson Wentz for various reasons, I think would probably mean a lot to a guy that you call like a QB whisperer. Like that's a passion play for him, right? Is to take this guy with these kind of tools and make him this good. I think that's a part of the story.
So here's, I guess, the dark cloud then on this sunshine and rainbows talk that we've been having. And once again, like, I don't like speaking anybody's truth of why they do something, right? Like, this is just my interpretation.
Yeah,
I could be completely off.
Of course.
I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I have no idea, right? I don't like speaking about it, but I'll just give you my 2 cents of what I think.
I don't mind speaking about it.
I don't know for sure. I mean, it makes great radio, right? Or streaming. So we're both sitting here in agreement that obviously ego, the pride, whatever you want to call it, like you still want to win, right? And then you still want to justify everything, and you want to show Philly like, hey, it didn't go well there, but look, I'm doing here in Jacksonville. And maybe that's the truth. But a part of me is thinking, all right, man, you're the ultimate competitor. You have all this pride. And you know where I'm going to go with this, Brent. But then you don't call the plays. So is this more about Press Taylor? Is this more about trying to prop up a best friend? Because I'll be honest with you. If I was Doug Pederson, and my best friend, my best friend back home, AP, or even my mom was the coordinator, who I love dearly. Mom, you ain't calling the plays.
Yes.
Hate to tell you. You brought me into this world. I call you every single day. You ain't calling the plays, though. Like, this is going to fall on me. Like, if this is going to go bad, it's going to go bad because of me. If this is going to go good, it's going to go good because of me. But I am controlling the situation. I'm not going to wash my hands and say, hey, man, Mom, I'll tell you what to call. All right, we'll go over the game plan together. But when it comes time, Trevor Lawrence is going to have you in the headset. No. Hell no, man. No, there's too much at stake here. There's way too much at stake. It's up to me.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's, once again, don't want to speak for anybody's truth of why they're doing certain things a certain way. But the way I see it is, are you truly a competitor? Do you truly want to stick it to the Eagles? Are you truly in this for a Super Bowl? Or are you trying to prop up some friends along the way and give back?
Yeah, I don't. But fair question, and that's an interesting one, especially the calling plays about all these other things to check off the boxes. If he is driven by the Trevor development, if he is driven by screw you, Philly, if he is driven by another Lombardi trophy and legacy, well, then this just validates the point we've been making for a couple of months to go call plays, because that's the best way to do that, Doug. You get to control that. Why wouldn't you? You don't have to be a control freak to go do that. The one thing I don't agree with on this whole thing is that, oh my gosh, he loves press more than his own wife, kids, or anybody else, and dog, and that he wants press to be like this guy. I mean, I don't understand that. Even with, to your point, your mom, your best friends, like, you want them to do well. You want to put them in a position to do well. But to prop them up to this degree would be, I think, outrageous for anybody. I just don't see it. Unless there's something we don't know that he owes Press Taylor that just is beyond what we even know. So I don't agree with that. Like, I don't buy that. I don't think this, sure, was there an element of that? I truly believe last year, the fact that he gave Press Taylor and announced it, or he didn't, but Ian Rappaport did, on that opening game morning of the season opener in 2023 while I was sitting in Indianapolis on a parking garage doing a live shot in the morning, is because of what happened in Kansas City with Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid. I thought it was hey, we didn't let you go anywhere last year. We need you to stick around for continuity. Baltimore came calling, we denied it, type of stuff. But, hey, this is going to be yours. You're going to get your opportunity now. Watch, we're going to go take off. We're going to go 30 a game. We're going to go to the playoffs. We're going to make a run. Trevor's going to take another step, and you're going to be a big part of this too. We're not going to make the mistake that, not a mistake, but the perception of Kansas City was it's all Andy Reid, all Andy Reid. This isn't going to be, it's all Doug Pederson. I think it's a very selfless way to look at it for Doug. Like, I believe that's the way it was. It was kind of this selfless act and very loyal act, and also admirable in many respects. I think his motivation behind it. It obviously didn't work. But I think that ends now. Like, I don't think he tried it. And now let's just all win with the team and you'll get a job somewhere, Press.
I mean, yeah, maybe. But, like, listen, this is why Andy Reid's Andy Reid, right? Because whether it was Bieniemy.
Yeah, he never did. Yeah.
Like, and listen, and I appreciate what Andy Reid did for everybody in terms of, like, he still propped them up, right? Like, yeah, you're not calling the plays, but, like, any press conference after the season, after the Super Bowl, I'm going to go out there and say you were just as big of a amount of reason as I was for us having so much success. So I respect that. But listen, Andy Reid, it's always Andy Reid. Like, it comes down to him. It's his mind. It's his calls. And I think players respect that.
Yeah.
Once again, see how this whole thing unfolds this year, or this, up-and-coming training camp, whatever, whenever they announce it. But I think it's very telling when, all right, you want to win? You're in this to stick it to Philly? You're in this for a Super Bowl? Or are you in it to help people out?
Yeah. And by the way, I don't hate the fact that if he's motivated by a lot of those things or all those things. I hope he's motivated by the Lombardi, the legacy, the Philly, Trevor. Like, I hope he is motivated by all that.
You'd have to be in this position.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, listen, again, I think it's fair to say all the other things that we know are true, too. Loves football. Loves being around football. Why not? Why wouldn't you do it? He's a young guy. He's in good health. He's good at it. Like, all those things make sense, too. But I wonder what the driver is. Like, if there's a subconscious. Some people think about that. Some people don't. Like, I don't think about that, honestly. Like, I got to think about what we're doing and where we're going. I don't think about it in a bigger picture thing. Like, I got to do this or I got to be here. Or, like, I don't have that. And maybe other people are like that, or maybe people do. Like, I have goals, but I don't necessarily think, hey, in 5 years, we got to be making X money and doing this. Like, I don't get that far. That's too big of a picture for me.
Yeah.
And maybe it is for Doug. Maybe Doug, all those things that I just mentioned, he hadn't thought about for a minute. Just kind of doing his thing and just let the chips fall where they may. But I do think it's fascinating because on the outside looking in, I think, although you don't like to speak why he's doing it, I think you could interpret that he would be doing it for some of those reasons, and why not? But I think it's also fair to say maybe he's not driven by any of that. He's just driven by the love of the sport and the love of coaching and the reward he gets by coaching. And if it ends up being a Lombardi trophy and a legacy play and the development of Trevor Lawrence, more power to him.
No, for sure.
Might be simple as that. Let's take a break here on the Brent Austen Show as we go longer and longer each and every segment. Hey, if you don't like breaks on the other place, we don't take them much around here. That be a new slogan? Freddie T, congratulations.
We trying to go to war too?
Yeah, why not?
We trying to start a beef? Okay.
Some people have suggested we should.
Okay.
Fred Taylor, congratulations. He promised his late grandmother that he would finish school.
Amazing.
He had 19 credits left on his sociology degree when he left for the NFL, and he went back to school this last semester and was able to finish it off at the University of Florida. So big moment for Jags legend Fred Taylor. I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 0.9% for eligible buyers on Terrains and no payments for 90 days. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
What started out as better people, better projects just keeps getting, well, better. That's Better Exterior Solutions, ready to help you create a better outdoor experience. Check this out. Motorized pergolas are the latest in technology to transform your outdoor space. Beautiful day? Let the sun shine through. Summer rainstorm? These pergola systems close automatically to keep the weather out. From residential to commercial uses, Better Exterior Solutions has products customized to meet virtually any existing architectural structure. With retractable awnings, screens, and hurricane shutters too, if you want unparalleled quality and expertise, you need Better Exterior Solutions. Get a free estimate by visiting betterexteriors.com or calling 904-902-4999. Better Exterior Solutions. Experience better.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Kinetico softener and drinking water system. Kinetico's twin tank, non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Kinetico Premier Softener with a Kinetico K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Kinetico water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Kinetico dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
It's the fishing tournament everyone wants to get in, and it's time for you to register. More than 650 boats entered last summer in the Daly's Old School Kingfish Shootout presented by Yellowfin. Mark the calendar now, June 8th. This is fun for the entire family, and everyone has a chance to win big. Limited boundaries, no bait buying, no checkout. Cash prizes for the top 25 places, cash prizes for the top 10 lady anglers, and prizes for the top 15 junior anglers. The grand prize, this Yellowfin Bay boat with a 200 horsepower Yamaha and a Ameritrail trailer. The value, over $100,000. It's the Daly's Old School Kingfish Shootout. Early entry until the end of May is open and $250. If you don't catch the big one, don't worry. Just catch any size kingfish and have a chance to win $10,000 with the Nimnicht Lucky Ticket. OldSchoolKingfish.com. Register early until May 31st at OldSchoolKingfish.com.
New to town or always been in town? Everyone is always looking for a good pizza place. Our place is Donato's Pizza. We love it and still do love it. When I tell my family I'm coming to Donato's, they say, wait a minute, you got to order some for us. So this is not all for me. Let me tell you what the Martineaus get when we put an order in. Well, pepperoni pizza, we usually get more than one of these. And then there's the works, a little bit of everything. And then this is the pizza that can be polarizing for some out there. I don't know why. Hawaiian pizza. Some love it, some don't. At Donato's, you're going to love it, especially with that cinnamon sprinkled on top. Try the pizza my family likes or try your favorite. Right now, you can use the code BRENT20 and get 20% off your order. Every viewer and listener is important to us. And at Donato's Pizza, every piece is important. From fresh ingredients to the dedicated team members and you, the valued customer. Donato's Pizza, where every piece comes together for a winning combination. Jack's Beach and Mandarin locations. Donato's Pizza, every piece is important.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Well, congratulations to the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. I think this is a congratulations. Like, I'm not totally sure. But they had their 1,000th player. Remember we had Scott Kornberg on last week?
Yeah. It says congratulations, Brent. Yeah, it's congratulations.
Well, congratulations to Eli Villalobos. Sorry, killing that name probably. Because he made his Major League Baseball debut.
There you go.
1,000th player to play both in Jacksonville and the major leagues. And, the more I was thinking of that, I was like, that is crazy. And Scott Kornberg deserves a lot of credit here. 1904 he went back to, so you go all the way back to Jacksonville baseball. It's obviously just the Jumbo Shrimp. But look at the players. I mean, you could, from Hank Aaron and Nolan Ryan to, Alex Rodriguez is probably somewhere. Yeah, there he is.
I see a Christian.
Yelich, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, whatever happened to Yelich? Yelich was so hot for a while, and then it's just kind of like...
he's hurt, Brent.
I know, but his last few years...
Well, he was off to a hot start this year, and then he got here. He had some back spasms or something.
But Yelich did he win the MVP that year, or was he in the running?
I think he's got one in his belt.
Did he end up winning it?
Mistaken, yeah.
And then...
Let me look that up.
But then, the next 2 years, I think, were really not good.
He fell off a little bit. Showed a little bit of a resurgence last year, but once again, injuries are kind of a thing with him. He was on track to have one of his best seasons. Once again, it was a week into so what can you really say? But he was on track to have a great season. Then, unfortunately, got hurt his back a little bit. He'll be back soon though. He was the MVP back in 2018.
So he did win in 2018.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought he was about to dominate baseball.
I know
at that stage, and he just faded a little bit. Mm-hmm. Really good player. Boy, it's so amazing they had him and Stanton down here. I think Ozuna was down here at that time too, or at one time.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
The Suns.
At least Miami's still doing fine though with what they have right now.
Hey, one thing about the I know. One thing. How about, did you see the Oakland A's and won 6 in a row?
Oh yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
They could play in front of nobody. Hats off to that team, man. You're playing in front of nobody. You have no payroll. You're a AAA team, and
watch them go to the playoffs. Watch them go to the playoffs and become be
Moneyball 2.
Moneyball 2, or that, or Major League.
It'd be more like Major League. Yeah, that is actually more like Major League.
Yeah.
A couple of comments in the chat here. One was about John Gruden, who won a Super Bowl with Tampa and then went to the Raiders. Now, what's interesting about Gruden there is that he had been to the booth, right? Still a very young guy, even younger, I think, than Doug was when he took this job. But the money got him there, right? The money was crazy.
Yeah, I think that the money, but also,
money didn't that reset the money in the NFL when he went to the Raiders?
It definitely did, but also, I don't know, man. You call, Monday Night Football. Was Monday Night Football he was doing? Or Sunday?
I think he was doing Monday Night Football.
Yeah, he did Monday Night Football and everything. I'm sure it makes you miss the game as a coach, So maybe he got that itch to go back there again. It's hard to pass up that much money, but also, once again, you're a coach, you're a competitor.
Yeah,
you got the ego.
I get that. Somebody suggests that if Doug got fired, Ryan Nielsen would be the next head coach. I'm not sure I buy that.
You don't think Press Taylor would be?
No. Yeah. No, I think if Press
Taylor... I'm sorry. Yeah, my bad. If you got fired, yeah.
Yeah, if you got fired.
I was thinking if he was to walk away, then Press would take over the mantle.
Well, not currently. Now, if they go to the playoffs and they score 30-something a game, I think people would feel different about that, right?
Sure, yeah.
So, that's a what have you done for me lately thing. Press Taylor, by the way, I believe is going to be a head coach in the National Football League. He's hanging around the Doug tree. Really, the Andy Reid tree, which has been very good. His brothers had success in Cincinnati. There's all the makings. He's still a very young guy.
Sure.
I think the Press Taylor stuff is so overblown here in Jacksonville. I really do. And I might be wrong. Been wrong before. I'm not on that train as much as everybody else. I'm not sitting here defending him left and right either. I just don't hammer him to the point everybody else does here in town. But I don't see Nielsen. You know what's funny about a guy like Nielsen? Is to me, he doesn't look like a head coach. He looks more like an assistant at DC.
Oh, no, man. Nielsen's got those Mike Vrabel vibes going on.
Yeah, I guess a little bit of that.
A little bit.
I just haven't been around him enough to know. I don't know him very well.
Okay.
So it's hard for me to feel it. But really, so you see head coach material out of him?
I could see it.
I don't even know what that looks like, by the way, because Arthur Smith never looked like a head coach to me. Or I could sit here and say Brian Callahan doesn't look like a head coach. Like, I mean, I don't know what that means. I'm just, in my mind, it's like, no, I didn't draw that. I didn't say, hey, they brought Ryan Nielsen in to someday be the head coach.
Yeah.
I guess there are a lot of guys that don't look like head coaches. What does a head coach look like?
No, I mean, I think with Nielsen, man, it's almost like, in terms of like what I would envision, it's almost like the Sean McDermott thing in Buffalo. Like, he's going to be a little bit of an attitude, right? Like a little bit of accountability, let's just say. Like, I can see him definitely being a head coach one day.
I think I think he's going to be good for this defense. I don't know where it is long term. I just think the Ryan Nielsen stuff's going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
And you know what else? I was thinking about this over the weekend. All the stuff about the cornerbacks and do they have a star out there? I don't know. I mean, maybe Tyson is a star. And what are they going to? I love what they're doing with depth. They're going to have plenty of competition. And there's sometimes you have good competition, and sometimes you have like, okay, we don't really want that kind of competition. Now, what everybody will say is they always want competition. But I think this is good competition because I think you've got old and young. Your skill sets are not that varied. It doesn't look like, at least from the outside. I think they have a lot of players that can play, and who's going to emerge. Like I think it's a bit of it's going to be a secret. Or at least a mystery. I don't think it's a purposeful secret, but it's going to be a mystery going into the season who their starting trio of cornerbacks is. I don't think we know that by the middle of August.
No, I mean, I think the competition will still be open for business.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is not bad, but like opposite of, here's why I say it the way I do. I think it's good to know your offensive line is your offensive line going into camp.
Yes.
Now, I don't mind a positional battle here or there, but I also think it's good to know to get the continuity, to get the reps, to all those things.
Of course.
Now, is it bad to know who your cornerbacks are? Probably not. But I'm just saying in this instance, I don't think we are going to know, good or bad, who the corners are by like the middle of August. I think that's going to be, that'll emerge.
No, that'll emerge. Like, listen, with offensive line, like I get like competition breeds whatever, success and everything. But like with offensive linemen, like it's all about the cohesiveness, right? Like we've talked about this before, Brent. You can have 5 good offensive linemen and still not play great together. So like the more that you establish, and once again, I'm sure we'll hear, Luke Fortner, Mitch Moore. Come on.
Yeah, we're not.
What are we doing?
That's not it.
Like Mitch Morris is brought here to be the starting center. Let's act like it, everybody, please. Like we don't need to get the coach rhetoric. All right, I know you're trying to support your guy Luke Fortner, but it's going to be the Mitch Morris show. So yeah, the sooner that you can establish starters on the offensive line and work that cohesiveness, the better. And the secondary, sometimes you can play off each other and everything, so it helps to have the cohesiveness, the gel, if you will. But also, it's not as much needed as an offensive lineman. So I agree with you. I'm excited for the camp battle, if you will, of the secondary, and hopefully guys can stay healthy.
Yeah, is it hard to predict right now? Like who do you think? Is it the obvious? Is it Tyson? Is it Darby? Is it Darnell Savage?
Yeah.
Where does that put Jarian Jones? I mean, we had Mike Norvell on Friday, and it's like, hey, hard not to get excited about a guy like Jones. Although he did talk about special teams as well, so it's like maybe he starts there. And
he also mentioned a lot from the slot though as well, right? Like Jarian Jones.
Listen, they moved him to the slot. Like that's where he has played.
Yeah.
That's where he's played really well. Like he did a great job in the slot. So what you would say is, okay, why wouldn't you play him in the slot? So does that move Savage? You just paid Savage pretty decent money. Does that mean he's a depth play there, or does that go back to safety and he battles it out with Antonio Johnson, even though, again, we've had a lot of conversations. Savage, what he said on the microphone was more like, hey, I'm going to have a chance to come in, make plays, move the slot, all those things.
Things change,
again, we're trying to put all this information together. But if you were to predict the starters right now, I think I still would have Savage there until I see Jarian Jones on the field in a Jags uniform. Obviously, it's going to be Tyson. And honestly, I think it's still going to be Ronald Darby at this moment. I think those are the trio of guys that will have some guys right behind him on the depth chart. I mean, right behind him.
Yeah. If you're asking for my prediction right now, and granted, it's probably changed tomorrow, I think it's going to be Campbell, Darby on the outside, Jones on the slot, work him into it, right? Savage, your safety, then Cisco.
Okay.
As your safeties.
Yeah.
Or some kind of battle with Savage and,
Antonio
Johnson.
But so just think about it this way. If you do have that, right, you have the depth is really strong.
Yes.
Again, we've said this about safety. I mean, Wingard's not a bad player. He's developed into a good player that you trust out there. Antonio Johnson, we think, has a chance to be a pretty good player for this football team. You can move Savage and even Antonio Johnson into the slot. Both have played there. Both have skill set to play there. And then whatever else you do with the Gregory Juniors and Buster Browns and whoever else you bring in, I think they had somebody in recently on a workout too, or a visit. So, man, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I actually, it's funny that you look at their secondary and you're like, well, I don't know, one, who it is going to be. Two, I don't know where the stars are. But three, I kind of like the depth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Would you rather have stars and lack of depth? Or would you rather have a bunch of depth?
I mean, honestly, if you're asking me, I'd rather have the stars with maybe a little lack of depth.
Yeah.
Because, depth can only get you so far. I mean, yeah, okay. Are you confident if Dewey goes out there, to hold things down? I think he can be serviceable, but, could it be a little bit of a liability every once in a while? Probably. So, yeah, I'd rather have the stars.
Well, and the reason, here's what I think when you have the amount of depth without stars, is it promotes crazy competition and excellent play. Like you playing with a chip. You're not playing with complacency. Stars can play with complacency. And that's where down years come in. Because they're like, I got this, right? Like, nobody's going to bounce me here. So that's my hesitation on it. I love guys playing with a chip, playing for something, playing for a reason, right?
Well, and I think with this team right now, I mean, yes, I think Darby was brought here to be a starter, and he knows that. But also, you got to watch, okay, there's some guys coming from my tail, so I got to play well. Obviously, Tyson Campbell, a huge year for him going forward, so he has to play well. So, yeah, there's a lot of things in terms of the secondary where guys got to play well, and no one's comfortable, which is a good thing.
Zay Jones reportedly visiting the Titans today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is an
Do
interesting...
they need a wide receiver? They all set?
I saw somebody say this, and I don't know if this is true or not. This was just something I saw in passing the last couple of weeks, maybe on Twitter. I don't even know if it was a fan or somebody else. But somebody was predicting that Treylon Burks would be traded this offseason still. I don't know. I don't know what that temperature is. In Tennessee. But the bottom line is, so they got Hopkins, Burks, Ridley.
Mm-hmm.
And you would go get Zay Jones, so it's okay for Zay to be the fourth guy there, but not here. Price tag would be different, of course. But
price tag definitely be different, yeah.
You know what else is interesting about that is if they do that, and again, this is just a visit, okay? But if that's what happens, and he ended up to sign with Tennessee, man, you're old at wide receiver.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which is kind of funky because you got a young quarterback, which, okay, you get a little bit of that. But I'm talking like you're in your 30s. You're in Hopkins, Ridley.
You're probably not going to have a lot of sustained success. Yeah.
So that's it. Obviously, it's a Band-Aid. Might not be a bad Band-Aid. I'm not even criticizing. I'm just noting that that's an old group with Hopkins and Ridley and a team that looks like it's rebuilding. To have those kind of old players is a bit fascinating to me.
I mean, it's fascinating, but also you get this sense of okay, so for instance, the Titans were always kind of like a throwback team to me, right? I mean, obviously Derrick Henry was
They kind of feel that
spearheaded that, right? They're the throwback. Now it's like they're going in the opposite direction, where it's pass first and run second.
Well, with Callahan coming in and welcome to the new age, right?
For sure, but you're also putting a lot at stake with Will Levis then.
Yeah, there's a lot.
A lot of pressure. That's going to be the plan. Listen, if I'm a rookie quarterback and I have Derrick Henry back there, I feel pretty good about.
It feels a little bit like they feel a little bit like Carolina last year. And before you go, oh my gosh, no, they're not. In this sense,
I'm giving you some time. I was thinking about it, but go ahead.
Well, when they got Bryce Young, I was like, I didn't know their offensive line was so bad, but they started to get Thielen, and they got DJ Chark out of Detroit. I forget who else they had. I thought they got somebody else. But they were like middle at that stage, middle of the road guys, not like superstar guys, but not super young guys. And I actually thought when they did that I know what they had. They had Hayden Hurst.
Oh, Hayden Hurst.
Hayden Hurst as well at tight end. I'm like, okay, well, these are guys that can help this young quarterback and give him some options to throw to rather than these unknown players you're bringing in the draft, right? That you bring in all together. Again, go back to what the Jags did, where it actually wasn't bad, but they had Bortles and Hearns and Robinson and Marquise Lee. Like, those guys were very unproven at the time everybody was together. And so when Carolina did that, I was like, no, this might not be bad for Young. Like, this isn't, these aren't bad guys around him. Now, they're not all pros anymore, but they're capable players. These guys have all had decent resumes. So Tennessee feels like they're doing a little bit of that. Now, the problem with Carolina is they couldn't block me. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't protect them.
Yeah.
And on top of other things, but they really couldn't block at all. Tennessee's trying to get better at blocking. Their line hasn't been good either, but they obviously invested in it in the first round. But now, and I would say this, you take Thielen, Chark, and Hayden Hurst in my instance, and you put Ridley, Hopkins.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
I'm
better.
Taking that all day.
Yeah, it's better. So, but doesn't it kind of feel like that? Kind of feels like they're putting a almost like a little Band-Aid around Will Levis, say, hey, we're going to give you some stuff because we want to see what you can do with some stuff.
No, I mean, I think that they're giving him the experience stuff right now because you know what you're getting. Okay, like when you bring in young talent, when you bring in rookies, there could be some adjustment periods. Like Calvin Ridley, you're going to get his best. It's either now or never. DeAndre Hopkins, maybe on the back nine of his career a little bit, but like you know what you're getting. Like, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you have experienced guys that you think would help out a young quarterback.
Yeah, and maybe it works. It didn't really work in Carolina, but maybe it works.
No, it didn't work in Carolina, but once again, like I don't think it's. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I think the Titans are far ahead in terms of the Carolina Panthers on offense.
One other thing, and I can't help but think of. This is a different spot for the Jags organization. The guys that they let go are ending up in places. And this has been happening a little bit more over the years, but there was a long time where that did not happen. I mean, Foley Fatukasi went to Houston, rival. Arden Key last year went to rival, Tennessee. DeJuan Smoot just went to Buffalo, who could be a contender. Zay Jones maybe ends up in Tennessee. These guys that you're not hanging on to, those decisions that you're making come with consequences on the other side that could come back to bite you. If somebody else is able to get the better of them or somebody else is a better fit for them. It's going to be an interesting thing to watch. This is happening more and more. And right in their own division, teams that they're playing, teams that they could contend with, are showing up on the other side of the ball. Arden Key's a great example of that from last 22 to 23.
No, it's definitely a great example. But if I'm Trent Bulk, if I'm the GM, like, listen, with Fatukasi, are you going to go out there and ball out? You may very well do that. But I like Eric Armstead better.
Yeah. Okay? I'm not playing scared on it. I'm just noting.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, yeah, it's going to be a good conversation piece as well. But like, you can't think of, at least I can't think of like, okay, well, look what he's doing over here. Look what he's doing over here. Like, listen, Zay Jones could go out to the Tennessee Titans. Who knows? Maybe he has a resurgence and becomes their one receiver. Who knows? If that's the case, best of luck to you, Zay Jones. But like, I'm not going to fault this Jaguars team for letting him go when you brought in Brian Thomas Jr. and Gabe Davis. Like, you're the odd man out, man. So like, I don't ever, like, I do this a lot with like Quincy Williams because there was, I mean, you draft how many guys that are trying to play as Quincy Williams, and Quincy Williams is still the best linebacker out of all those guys. So like, in those situations, that's when I go, what were you guys thinking there?
Yeah.
But like when it's like a Zay Jones, when it's a Fatukasi, we're all set.
Yeah, I get it. You get it. And on the other side of it, I mean, keep in mind, the Jags are doing the same thing by bringing over the Buffalo guys that they let go, that they didn't, for some reason, Buffalo, did they not know they were going to get rid of Stephon Diggs? Did they still feel like, Gabe Davis is expendable? We don't need to sign him for $13 million because they had an empty cupboard there for a little bit with wide receiver until they drafted Keon Coleman. So I don't know if that whole plan was a plan, or they were like, Gabe Davis, listen, great dude.
Yeah.
But we don't really need him to win. The Jags say, we do. Who's right? Like, that's a fascinating thing. Mitch Morse, the Jags needed to upgrade somewhere along the way. Is he the right upgrade? Is he enough of an upgrade? I think that's a fair enough thing to ask with injury history and also a guy that's a little bit older. Buffalo is like, well, he's expendable for us. Who's going to be right? These are interesting things that now take place around the National Football League when you're getting that free agent. And again, what I would say, it's totally different than if he goes to the Chicago Bears. It's definitely a thing when you're playing the Bills on the schedule and you could compete for a playoff spot with the Bills. The Texans and the Titans are picking up some of these guys. What's pretty interesting is I don't think the Jags have picked up anybody from the AFC South.
True. And I mean, the biggest story to me is going to be the Calvin Ridley one. You know, how is Calvin Ridley going to do? Because
that is the biggest.
You get the sense that the Jags wanted him
and they
back.
wanted to keep him. Yeah,
they wanted to keep him. That's going to be the very telling one because once again, if you have Ridley playing at a very high level, then one would think, okay, well then, you know, Will Levis or whatever is going to probably play at a pretty high, a decent level as well.
With the Ridley thing could be a fascinating deal how the season plays out. Because if Tennessee got up on them on that move, right? If it was worth the money to pay for him and the Jags weren't willing, or did the Jags luck out even though they did want him, the price tag got so high they couldn't control him with a franchise tag and it ended up working out really well. They got a little fortunate that they went with Brian Thomas Jr. instead. Great storyline.
Yeah.
Coming up this season, which way would they have been better off going? And it might be a storyline that tells how the Jags are doing this upcoming season. All right, it's lunchtime. By the way, get to Donato's Pizza. You can save 20% with the code Brent20 at lunchtime or dinner time, anytime with Donato's Pizza, Mandarin and Jack's Beach. Got to check them out. Our favorite pizza in our household. Got to try the pepperoni, but there's so many other things to try with Donato's Pizza, Mandarin, Jack's Beach. And don't forget to use the Brent20 code. We can save you 20% off your entire order any day of the week. We'll be back on the Brent Austen Show. An hour to take you until 1 o'clock on the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 network. And don't forget, the lineup includes, well, starting at 6 a.m., it's a Miller and Moulton show each and every day. And on Wednesday, we expand the coverage even more. Oh, Cup Date with Stuart Weber is going to be fun this week after that finish. A week with Action Sports Shacks with Olivia Tassley. And I'm going to be complaining like crazy about the FHSA on no gate fees and the regional rankings and how it all unfolded across the state of Florida. It'll be a big show. We'll talk a lot about that on No Gate Fees presented by Nimnick Buick GMC. Coming up Wednesday, 2 o'clock until 3 o'clock on the new Action Sports Shacks 24/7 network. It's a new logo, new branding, but with Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. And with that comes the perks we miss in the big business world. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained and they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. The folks at Bold City Heating and Air also know your AC unit is important and can be a big expense. That's why they have financing to help. No payments, no interest for 12 months on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Bold City Heating and Air.
Do you have ugly concrete around your home or business? Are you tired of concrete that is cracked, stained, or just plain ugly? Spartan Coatings' range of products provides a surface that is non-porous, easy to clean, antibacterial, and slip-resistant, all with superior durability.
Living in Florida nearly my whole life, I know the toll our weather can take on a garage floor. That's why I had Matt and the crew from Spartan Coatings transform this space. And the best part, they did it in one day.
It was a professional process from step one. The polyurea and polyaspartic system provides superior flexibility, is 4 times stronger than epoxy coatings, and will withstand temperatures high and low. Plus, it comes with a 20-year warranty. Whether it's a garage floor, patio, pool deck, driveway, or your interior flooring, Spartan Coatings has you covered. To get started transforming your ugly concrete surfaces, call 904-671-3930 or visit SpartanCoatings.com today for your free quote.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV, or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Shacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jax to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jax in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jax 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms, whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV. You can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jax 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
It's the place we party in football season with Jaguars All Access.
Welcome to Spring Sports Brewery, everybody. Say hello to our guest tonight. That is Trevor Lawrence.
You can bring your party or event to Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield any day and any time. Rehearsal dinners, corporate events, birthdays. Here at Strings, you can enjoy the inside area and the outside area. Good for any weather, good for any occasion. Watch the games, play the games, shoot some hoops. Beer? Yeah, they have that. Plenty of choices. And sure, this is a brewery, but Strings is also a restaurant, and the food is fantastic. A full menu made from scratch meals. And if you need String Sports Brewery to help with a party at your place, they cater too. Family, beer, food, sports. Spring Sports Brewery in Springfield.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, congratulations to Edward Waters' baseball team. That's a grand slam they hit in the 8th inning yesterday to win the SIAC Conference Championship. It's the first time they've won that conference championship, so congratulations to everybody with Edward Waters baseball. You know, they just transitioned into Division II, and there's a little bit of a penalty for that in a weird way. And I don't know if they look at it as a penalty. First of all, the conference championship's awesome. They got the dog pile. They celebrated. We can keep this rolling a little bit. You'll end up seeing it. But they were fired up about that grand slam because it was part of a 6-run inning. Here's the last out. We get the dog pile. A dog pile is always good. But the deal with this now is usually you would win this conference tournament and go to the NCAA tournament in Division II. Well, Edward Waters can't go there this year because it's a part of a 3-year transition period. Yeah. So they're not eligible to go to the NCAA tournament, which kind of sucks. Like, I get the transition stuff to some degree. So Savannah State, the runner-up there, I think is the one that will represent the SIAC. I guess that I'm trying to figure out exactly, there's some common sense here, I think, why the transition period exists as long as it does. I guess that would prevent schools from jumping back and forth to, like, let's just say a team like Tampa is very good at Division II, like in a lot of sports. And you could argue that they should be in Division I, the way they operate, the way they're funded, the way they're whatever. But maybe if they were to go dip their toe in Division I, they'd go up for like 2 years and then come back to Division II or something like that. They could kind of jockey back and forth, and then there would be no real reason to stop them if you didn't have this transition period. I'm guessing that's why. But anyway, long statement to say congrats to Edward Waters. They will play this coming week in the Black College World Series in Montgomery, Alabama. So they're still playing some baseball. I believe they won that last year. If not last year, it was 2 years ago. So congrats to those guys. That's good stuff. We have some good D2 baseball going on in the area now. Flagler actually making a run in their conference tournament. They will actually play today, and those guys, after starting 0-8, are off to are having a nice season at 28-22 and trying to get into the NCAA tournament. So good stuff happening. We have a big week locally of high school baseball, softball regionals. We have lacrosse going to the Final Four, and that includes bowls. Bowls won on Saturday night at home in overtime. We have boys volleyball, Bartram Trail and Creekside. Those guys are in the state tournament. Track and field regional is going to be over here at Hodges Stadium at UNF, and there's some really good stories coming out of there. So good luck to everybody that's still in it. Fun time of year in the spring sports. Brent Martineau along with Austen Lane. You had a semifinal flag football 9-year-old game today, this weekend. Yep. I wanted to go. I was going to go, and then I was like, I couldn't make it that early. I was hoping it was a little later in the day.
Well, yeah. Well, nice joke. I told my son that you might be able to show him. He's like, is he bringing the cameras with? We're going to be on TV? I go, I don't know, babe. Maybe. Better play good. Yeah.
Glad to know that he really couldn't wait to see me. He just wanted to see the camera.
It was more about being on TV, but yeah, I'm sure he appreciates you too, man.
But anyway, I was hoping you guys would win so I could get there next week and fill up a point short.
Yeah, fell a point short when you have the ball at the 2-yard line with 4 chances. Unfortunately, couldn't get the job done. And listen, I know a lot of the parents, a lot of the coaches actually listen to our show.
Oh, really?
I've been told by many of them. So we appreciate your support.
Very good.
But please, no, I don't care what anybody thinks I'm about to say because I'm going to say it anyways.
Oh,
okay?
wow.
And then here we go. I've been applauded, I feel like, this year a lot for being the parent that didn't say anything. Because here's where I'm coming from. I grew up with a mom and eventually a stepdad who just preached me to have fun. It was never any pressure on me. Not my stepdad got thrown up a hockey game one time, but, beer and stuff. Yeah, it happens. But besides that, no issues. And I was never pushed. It's just, hey, find your own way. If you want to play. I'm like, cool. So, that's the philosophy that I grew up with. That's the philosophy that I'm trying to share to my son. So I'm the parent that's just sitting down, enjoying it, and just being a fan. Because part of me wants to be like, all right, I want to be a coach and do this. No, man, I just want to relax on a Saturday, watch my son play, run around and have fun. That's what I bring to the table. And all the parents are like, we can't believe you're so quiet and you just laugh. I'm like, because this is my enjoyment. I enjoy it. I don't get stressed.
It's recreation.
It's recreational. They're learning life lessons out there. It's not my job to yell and do this. No, man. I put it in cruise control, man, and I enjoy the show. All right. When it comes to coaching at this level, I don't care what kind of coach you are either. We had a great coach where it was more about, just kind of laid back, having fun, learning the lessons.
Maybe.
And we've encountered some coaches, where it's drop and give me 20, whatever the case may be. I don't care what your coaching style is because much like life, you're going to have bosses that you like and sometimes bosses that you don't like. That's the way life goes. That's the way sports go. Right? So you better learn now. Couldn't be happy with our coaches. Now, semifinals. The team that we played against had issues with their coaches, okay? And when I say I had issues with their coaches, I say coaches plural because we had one coach, one assistant coach, and my son's opponents, not exaggerating, had 8 coaches. 8 coaches.
One per player.
All wearing the same shirt and everything.
Did they all bring Capri Suns?
All wearing the same shirt and everything, okay? Fine, that's your team. Don't care. Not going to affect me whatsoever.
I maybe care a little bit.
Well, I'm just it looks so ridiculous, but hey, do your thing. Once again, I don't care who's listening because this is how I feel. Didn't have an issue with it, though. What I had an issue with it was when we had a younger referee who you could tell it might have been his first year, his first time out.
Yeah.
I put the kid in high school.
A lot of the kids do the flag football stuff.
Yeah, I put the kid in high school. Obviously, maybe didn't know the rules in and out. And I could tell he was getting a little affected by the opponents on the sidelines because every single play, oh, that's a false start. Oh, he's holding. What? They're 9-year-old kids in a playing football game, and I'm not exaggerating. Once again, every single play they were getting in this ref's face to the point where the ref made a really, really bad call. And to set the scene real quick, we had the ball. We're up by 7, getting ready to go score again. It's 3rd and 1. We score a touchdown. They call it for impeding the rusher because in flag football you can only rush one guy. Get called for impeding the rusher
or something.
And all of a sudden the ref goes, it's a loss of downs. It's a penalty loss of downs, which is not the case. It's only third down anyway. So we lost the ball. Now our opponents have the ball.
That's one hell of a penalty.
It's one hell of a penalty. And I'm just like, so now I say something to the ref, I'm like, I don't think it should be like, and once again, I'm calm, I'm collected, okay? Whatever. We get screwed over that call, life goes on, still cheering for my son. Well, now it gets to the point when we're back on offense where anytime the ball grazes the ground, it's a dead ball. And the opponent coaches are just screaming to the top of their lungs, to the point now where my son's looking at them like, what's going on? Like, he's confused. Okay, so now it's affecting me because now you're ruining the game. So I said something and I go, hey man, they're a bunch of 9-year-olds, relax. And I say this across the field because obviously we're separate fields.
What I'd like to see here is a backbeat turned over here, and then all of a sudden they mouth back, and then look.
So listen, I said it casually, chilling out, and I see the coach start laughing a little bit, like the main coach, and he turned to his wife and started giggling. Well, now I'm pissed off. Try to be nice.
Just went from recreation, chilling out.
Hey,
so
try to be nice. So the first half, by the way, trying to be nice. Right? Not trying to embarrass my son, not trying to embarrass anybody. I'm just there to watch a game and have fun. Try to be nice. Being nice wasn't working, right? So Austen had to stand up and say, hey, man, it's not about you, okay? They're not, and I might have raised my voice a little bit more, and I might have pointed. And I said, it's not about you. They're 9 years old. Let it go. And I think I got some people's attention a little more. And in doing that, there is nobody was like, oh, like that was it.
That was it.
And that was it. And the rest of the game, unfortunately, didn't go our way. But I had parents go to me and say, hey, thank you for saying something. We appreciate it. And I don't want to be that guy, man.
Yeah, I think you should start walking around all the fields and being that guy. Like, I think you should be the mediator.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Wait to get to a Little League field and you'll be like, leave the ump alone.
Yeah. Listen, I don't want to be that guy at all. And once again, if you're coaching a certain way, more power to you. If whatever you do is fine. But when you affect the game and it's no longer about the kids, then I have an issue with it.
Yeah.
But then I have to say something about it.
Oh, it's going to be a fun journey to watch for you.
Dude, I don't know, man.
Things that I'm most.
I might just tell my son to get into making some videos on YouTube and get away from sports. I might not be able to handle it.
You see it all, and listen, you have your own bad moments, and I'm not perfect at all on this front. You live and learn through it, and still, like, it almost gets worse for you as it goes in some respects. There's a lot to that, all right? So this is not me preaching of perfection, but I have thought about this. I'm like, I'm about to go see, like, you and Ronan and others for the next, 10 years get involved in this stuff. And it's going to be fascinating to watch. Like, because I do think people when you're not in it, and I've had other people that are older than me that have been in it and tell you about all the stuff, and it's like, they're kind of right. They're kind of right. From all of it, to the good stuff, to the bad stuff, to the emotions of like, wow, it's almost over. Yeah. Everything. Like, that's what we're in right now. It's like, holy cow, it really does kind of hit you. But it's going to be fun to watch it because you're going to see it. You're going to see everything. Man. You're going to see it. The crazy thing I remember about flag football, we played just a little bit of flag football. Actually, I should played a decent amount. But the flag football stuff, when you're coaching the kids, it's really like you're playing chess or checkers. Like, they are pawns in the game. Yeah. Like, whatever you just, like, really the big thing about flag football at that age, for the most part, is if you run like misdirection stuff, you're going to win.
Of course.
So, like, what you call, the plays that you call actually do make a huge impact on the game, which only empowers the coaches to think that, like, they are winning their fantasy football league.
Yeah,
you know,
for real.
there's like,
for real. Yeah.
Like, it becomes all about the coaches in flag football because you can really design the play that fools everybody else. So my vision is those 8 guys that are wearing the same shirts sat around on Saturday night drinking some pops and celebrating their victory. Well, not the kids. They didn't give a damn that they won and they're on to the finals. But the dads were like, we did it.
Yeah.
We've been scouting this all week. I haven't worked all week. I've been putting a game plan together, and we delivered.
And listen, and I'd be lying to you. Like, was I cheering for my son to win? Absolutely.
Oh, of course.
Right?
And does it lose hurt more?
Yeah.
To those guys?
And that's what I was just going to say. I was gonna say, you know, like we might have had some tears in the car ride home.
you
know?
were Ronan.
Well, yeah, I know, right? Ronan. Don't want to call him out, but like, yeah, it was a heartbreaking way to lose.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay?
I get it.
I told him like, hey man, you know, sometimes like
sounds ridiculous,
this you know, sometimes happens, dude. And so there was another kid that was like super dejected.
Was he?
And I had to go up to him, and he knew I fought, and I go, man, I'll make a deal with you right now. I go, you watch my fight later. He's like, yeah. I go, okay. Didn't go my way, right? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. Well, I'll make a deal with you. I'll keep my head up. You keep your head up. And he goes, all right, deal. Because like he was like, dude, he was, yeah, and you could tell.
It means something. To him.
It
I
means
like
something.
that.
I love
nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. But I would be lying to you if deep down, sitting in my folding chair, trying to keep calm and collected, if I didn't think to myself, if we don't bleeping get in the end zone, if we lose this game, and I have to deal with the opponent celebration of all those bleeping coaches and all those parents on the other side celebrating like they just won the World Series or something, I'm going to lose my mind. And, well, so couldn't get it done. And you know me? Hey, keeping it composed. Like, hey, son, tough game. But in my mind, I'm just like, let's go home. Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here.
No snacks today.
No. We're going to get ice cream. No. Didn't earn it. No, I'm kidding.
That's real stuff.
It is real stuff, man.
It's real stuff.
But yeah.
Sounds silly.
Yeah.
Until you're in it.
Yeah.
And it's real stuff.
And I know Brent too. Like I'm at the start.
Yes, you
right.
are.
Like
I know what's
I'm at
coming.
9-year-old like football. What happens when we put the pads on?
I know.
What happens when we up the intensity a little bit?
How'd the ref do? He all right?
Whatever with him, man.
He's fine.
Yeah. Hopefully he's fine. Like, okay, yeah. And I definitely said something to him too. And I think I scared. I'm like, you know, you messed up that play, right? I told him. He's like, man, no. I'm like, no, you know, you messed it up, right?
He just learned from it.
Just learn from it, man.
He didn't know what was coming after that.
Oh, dude! like, here's the thing about because Brent, you know me, right? Like, if you talk to me, I'm a pretty easygoing guy.
Yes.
Like, I forget that I can look intimidating sometimes.
Yeah.
Because in my mind,
you don't feel like
dude, I'm a giant teddy bear, man. Come on, dude. Like, I like to laugh and have fun, but like, I forget how I come across sometimes.
Yeah, that's
so,
a good
like,
point.
I gotta remember
I don't have that problem.
No. Yeah, you're good, man.
That's good stuff. Hey, speaking of good stuff, Eli Manning, great tweet this morning. I thought about attending the roast of Tom Brady last night, but I did not want to roast him for a third time. It just keeps on going.
Eli, I like it.
For Tom Brady.
I like it.
One thing about that I thought, what comes out of do we like Tom Brady more after this? Because he can smile and take a...
Yeah, I think so.
Get ribbed?
Yeah.
Like, I actually think it will do well for him. I don't know where people are. Like, do people like Tom Brady or not?
I mean, he's polarizing, man. I think you either love Tom Brady, you respect... Well, I don't want to say this. I think people respect him because he is the GOAT. Right? Like, when you win as much as he does, like, you can love him or hate him, but you got to respect him. You know, it's almost like the Kobe Bryant effect a little bit, I feel like. So... I think the Boston fans, I think the Patriots fans obviously think the world of him. I think a lot of people were sick and tired of watching him win, but regardless, you still respect what he was able to accomplish.
Well, I was almost thinking like you like him more now because he's not playing.
Yeah.
So he can't beat you anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
But Kim, when I asked that question, she said no, she doesn't like Brady.
Uh-oh.
Kim's corner doesn't like Brady.
Anti-Brady.
Why?
I mean, I just never...
Philadelphia beat him.
Yeah, but he Patriots. I always hated the Patriots.
Sure. Kim, do you respect him, though, or do you don't respect him?
I respect him, but I was sick of seeing him play.
Gotcha. That's fair.
Yeah, I don't have a good gauge of that. Like, I don't know where Tom Brady is in the landscape. I get that people were fatigued on him, but there are some players like, give me a player that people just...
Are sick of?
Yeah, totally sick of or don't like, because Brady didn't really do anything that, like, isn't unlikable. I mean, he obviously was married to Giselle, had a family. The Deflategate thing was a thing, but I mean, he didn't hurt anybody. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't been in trouble with the law. I mean, he obviously had the crypto thing. Like, I mean, he's had some things because he's in the public light. But I don't think like Manning didn't seem like he had a lot of detractors overall. Brady, I felt like he had more. But it might strictly be because of playing. So as soon as he hung it up, or as soon as he left Tampa, especially because his personality started to show up. So more get out of the New England Patriots organization that people kind of vilified by the end of it. right?
Correct.
I think people did kind of like Tom Brady. Like, where are people on Bryce Harper? People like Harper, or is he a polarizing guy you not like Harper?
I mean, I don't mind Bryce Harper.
He's polarizing if you're not a fan. He really embraced Philly.
Yeah, so Philly loves. Listen, I get the hometown people love him.
But people who aren't Philly fans typically don't like him.
Like, I'll give you another one. Like, this one surprised me because he comes off a nice guy overall, and I know people say some of it's not genuine or whatever. But Russell Wilson, like, what's that guy ever done like to make you mad at him?
Oh yeah, I mean, this is the cringiness stuff.
It's that. It's more that. It's more like a pop culture-y kind of feel, right?
Yeah.
Like, most of America's not paying attention to that stuff.
No, I mean, if you want to go into like the love-hate, I think LeBron James is a good example.
LeBron's a good one because he's so big, right? LeBron has a little bit of a LeBron is way cleaner cut than Tiger. But, like, I don't think Brady was as polarizing as LeBron, and they're both great.
I mean, dude, Brady's polarizing.
Is he that much?
Yeah. Don't sleep on. I mean,
I got tired of him too. I'm with you guys. Like,
we kind of forget, but the whole deflate, that was big with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Tom Brady and LeBron James are comparable because, for the most part, very clean cut guys. Like LeBron had the whole China thing, but all those comments and stuff, and then Brady had the deflate gate and a couple other things. But like for the most part, kind of clean cut guys.
Yeah, people bring up Antonio Brown. Like, Antonio Brown's like.
Oh, dude, that's not
even like on the radar for me. I'm trying to think of our stars in sports. Do we like them or not? Like, again, you got to get outside of their fandom, and then when, like, coming out of this roast, will more people like Tom Brady? Will it swing a little more? If he had, let's just say, it had a 60% approval rating, will it now be 70? I know I'm talking like politics here.
Yeah.
I have a hard time gauging that because fandom is separate than how we feel about. Like Peyton Manning's interesting to me because Peyton, especially down here, I think a lot of people didn't like him because he was a Tennessee Vol in the SEC, and a lot of people don't like folks that get as much attention as they do. And Manning got so much attention, a lot similar to Brady. But then Manning is like, obviously, there's a lot of people that love Manning. From commercials, he's endorsement friendly. He obviously has the whole ESPN thing. Like, you can sit there and tell me that you're sick and tired of Manning, but the bottom line is he wouldn't be on endorsements all over the place and shows like that if people didn't like him. More people like him.
All right, so I don't want to come across the wrong way. I think people love Manning. Well, some people maybe are sick and tired of seeing him all the time on the Manning cast and all this, but like Manning hosts SNL.
Yeah.
Crushes it out of the ballpark, right? Like, I think people can relate more to Manning because he maybe looks like your everyday dude.
I get you. I know what you're saying there.
Brady, and I get like you were taken late in the draft, right? You're kind of an underdog, but dude, you're a good-looking guy. You were married to Victoria. Like, you had everything.
Yeah.
And like when you have everything going for you, it's hard to relate to you, number one, but it's hard to also like you unless you play for my team.
That's a good point.
So I think just like Brady was kind of given the keys of the kingdom a little bit because like he had everything going his way.
Yeah.
Like Manning, I mean, you can say he's a good looking dude or not, but like I think he's just a little more relatable to the everyday audience.
Yeah.
And I can't see Tom Brady hosting SNL and like crushing it either.
Brady reminds me a little bit of like a David Beckham.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah. I like that.
From style to obviously supermodel to and Beckham, I don't know how, like, Beckham, I believe feels like universally loved from my opinion, but I might be wrong on that. I just don't know it.
Yeah.
And that's a totally different world. So again, I think it's a tough deal to get fandom versus reality, like when you're done with the sport.
Yeah.
In 10 years, are people going to like Brady even more? But I do think vulnerability is nice. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm really getting at. Mm-hmm. So when you show vulnerability to be made fun of, right, you bring yourself down to this level, is what he did last night.
Yeah.
I think that's only going to aid him and help him in his popularity. Not that he needs it.
I mean, no, I agree, but I just think that there's some guys who are so just on a different plane, like the MJs, the Tigers, the Bradys. I just feel like no matter what you do, I don't know if we can ever like bring you down to like the human level.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But like Peyton, you did though, I feel like. So I don't know. Maybe you can.
Yeah, but Peyton did that, I think, with
I mean, Payne had a roast about him too on
Deprecation,
Comedy
right?
Central. He had a
did
roast.
he?
Yeah. Back, like,
But he makes fun of himself all the time.
He does.
Right? And
He
I think
does.
that
Yeah.
helps. I think people like that.
Yeah.
Again, vulnerable a little
Yeah.
bit.
But also, I think like Peyton has kind of like that humor, like the comic gift a little
He does.
bit.
But no,
like,
he's better
his
than
timing's
Brady
always
at
great.
that.
Yeah. And like him, like the Manning cast, he always has good
Yeah.
like little things. I'm not sure Brady's got that.
Brady actually delivered, like in some of the moments that I saw, he delivered the stuff pretty well.
Sure.
And the timing of it and the pacing of it, which is very important in that kind of stuff. I thought he actually did a better job. Like, he might be better in the booth than I think.
We'll see. Yeah.
Because that's another thing now that can elevate your status. That's coming up when he joins Fox this year.
Yeah.
In the booth.
But also, I feel like, and once again, despite what you think about, I like Tony Romo. I think.
Yeah, I do too. I know a lot of people hate on him now, but I like Romo.
Well, I think Romo has set the bar so high where it's like if you're Brady, I mean, well, you're the GOAT, so now you got to be the GOAT of it. I mean, that's at least what I'm comparing it to. I'm like, okay, well, Romo did his thing. What do you got for us now, Brady?
Yeah, but I think Brady's coming into a time where people are a little fatigued on Romo, quite frankly.
Yeah.
The
He is
bottom
getting some
line is
hate.
it sounds like he gets a lot more criticism, and I don't know where it is if he did a vote,
Yeah.
but I think Brady's now coming in where he can be like, oh, okay, good, this is new. I like this better than Romo. It's not cool to like Romo right now. Like, we just said we like him,
yeah.
and that's not a cool thing to say.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it is. Also interesting, like CBS in general, Matt Ryan, they're moving him out with he was joining Andrew Catalon this past year, did a great job. They moved him to the studio. Sounds like Boomer Esiason and Phil Simms are out this fall, and you're going to get Brady in the booth. So there's a lot of changes going on in the broadcast world.
Bren, all this roast talk now has got me in the roasting kind of mood. When can we do the roast of Gene Fournette? And are we going to start it? Are we going to is this going to be a Brent and Austin spectacular?
That'd be great.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the guy in Jacksonville, right? That's what you got to do. I mean, we can do you, but like I just feel like
No, Gene Fournette would be a fun one.
I think it'd be the best one.
We might have to work on that.
Let's go.
I always thought, I think I've told you this before, I always thought like a fun thing to do on like our Action Sports Shacks primetime would be do a segment where we actually do semi-roast a media personality every like month or week in town, and you got to kind of figure out who it is. Like, I just thought it would be so good.
But do you think
But I'm not good at that. Like, that's not me. Like,
Yeah.
I can't do that because I don't. Again, that's not my world. That's not my arena. But I like the idea of it. Like, if I could find something, like maybe you'd be good at it or somebody be good at it. If I could find somebody to be good at it, and then you take like all the personalities in town or and I think it would be so much fun.
But-
now, I don't know if they could handle it.
Well,
but I think
that
it
was
would be
my
fun.
point. Like, dude, like I'll roast you because like I know like we're comfortable with each other.
Yeah.
Where I can do that, and you can do that to me, and we're fine. I probably won't punch you in the face, but like, I mean, you get a better feel for this round. Like, I don't know. There's some people like where you say something and like they feel a certain type of way about it.
They're probably pretty sensitive.
Yeah, so I don't want to do that then.
But that might even make it better, though.
Still trying to okay.
That might make it better.
Yeah, I guess we're kind of on a little island where it doesn't matter what I say, who gets offended. Like this is the thing.
Yeah, they're not going to mess with you. Most likely.
Well, physically.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll tell you who would be probably pretty good at
career-wise,
this.
I
We
don't
could
know.
bring him down as Shachter.
Okay.
Shachter. He'd be
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
good
yeah.
at it. And he'd like it.
Yeah.
He'd
for
like
sure.
doing it. There's some people that like doing that.
Yeah.
Get
Well, I mean,
Shachter.
I kind of had a little bit of a roast when I did my announcement. I was coming over here, but
Yeah, you did. You do like that needling a little bit.
I do like the needle.
But you might be too nice to the. Like, I don't think if I gave you a name now, Fournette, maybe you can have fun with. But if I gave you a name,
no, that's
I'm
the
not
thing.
sure you would go all in on.
No, because like dude, so and I get Gene gets a lot of stuff, but I like Gene a lot, man, and I respect what he's done.
Yeah.
See, yeah, you're probably right. I'd probably throw him some softballs, and that would be it, man. Yeah, wouldn't
you
give
like
him any
him too
chin music. I like him too much. Yeah, man, because like every single camp, he's always been super cool. Because I try to put like my perspective in their shoes sometimes. I'm like, okay, you got a former NFL player who doesn't take the dressing up seriously at all. Like, doesn't wear a polo, like, you know, black t-shirt to training camp, fine, okay? Don't present myself in a professional manner sometimes, but it's all good. But, like, he's always been super cool with me. And a lot of maybe he's afraid of me, and that's fine. I'd rather have it like that. But, like, everyone's been super nice to me. So, yeah, I don't want to come out and, like, roast people and, like, hurt feelings.
I think you have to have some distance to do it.
Okay.
I don't know if you have enough distance.
Yeah, man.
I don't know. I don't think I could. It might be all talk.
I have to go to
I don't know
dinner
if
with
you can
all these
deliver.
people.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I mean, if we do the roast to you, get Brent. I'm just saying, okay. But I could end your career.
I don't know if I could take it. Yeah, I could end my career.
No, I'm kidding.
Let's wait another 20 years.
Let's wait another 20 years
15, whatever.
When Trent Bulky's out of the building and everything, and then we'll bring
There'll be
everybody
a lot of
back.
Venmo bulky stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's take a break. Brent Austen Show here on a Monday, just getting the week started in Jacksonville. Could we find out the schedule release? It looks like we will. And then Friday is rookie minicamp, too, so we'll have some Jags availability later in the week. And don't forget Donato's Pizza. Every pizza is important. You can get 20% off your order. Just use the code BRENT20 in Mandarin and in Jax Beach. Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one-card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One-card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Do you have ugly concrete around your home or business? Are you tired of concrete that is cracked, stained, or just plain ugly? Spartan Coatings' range of products provides a surface that is non-porous, easy to clean, antibacterial, and slip-resistant, all with superior durability.
Living in Florida nearly my whole life, I know the toll our weather can take on a garage floor. That's why I had Matt and the crew from Spartan Coatings transform this space. And the best part, they did it in one day.
It was a professional process from step one. The polyurea and polyaspartic system provides superior flexibility, is 4 times stronger than epoxy coatings, and will withstand temperatures high and low. Plus, it comes with a 20-year warranty. Whether it's a garage floor, patio, pool deck, driveway, or your interior flooring, Spartan Coatings has you covered. To get started transforming your ugly concrete surfaces, call 904-671-3930 or visit SpartanCoatings.com today for your free quote.
I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 0.9% for eligible buyers on Terrains and no payments for 90 days. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
Thank you for making Action News Jax the best in Jax and Folio's Best of Jax 2023. Best TV station, Best TV newscast, Best TV morning show. Chandler Morgan voted Best TV anchor. The Chief, Mike Burrish, voted Best meteorologist. And Brent Martineau voted Best TV sports anchor. And while you're on the go, Best news website and Best local blog, The Burrish Blog. Thank you for making Action News Jax local coverage you can count on.
It's a new logo, new branding, but with Bold City Heating and Air, it's an old school approach. One of the few locally owned and operated air conditioning businesses left in Jacksonville. And with that comes the perks we miss in the big business world. It's every customer counts kind of service, from when these trucks have pulled up to my home over the last couple of years and when they pull into your driveway as well. From communication to pricing to the actual service, everyone at Bold City Heating and Air cares about you. You know who's coming to your house. You know they will be well trained. And they will respect your home. Air conditioning convenience at boldcityac.com. The folks at Bold City Heating and Air also know your AC unit is important and can be a big expense. That's why they have financing to help. No payments, no interest for 12 months on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Stay safe, stay comfortable with Bold City Heating and Air at boldcityac.com. Homegrown in your hometown. Bold City Heating and Air.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jax, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jax is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jax 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Oh, look at all the money tied up in quarterbacks. Where does Trevor Lawrence fit? We did this last night at Action Sports Jax Prime Time. Nice. Stuart Weber making the wall that says it all. And these are the most recent quarterback contracts. Now, you can make the case, obviously, Daniel Jones is overpaid. You can also make the case, I think a guy like Kyler Murray has been overpaid.
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson, that guaranteed contract, which I think you X him out because it's such a different deal. But then you probably X out a guy like Patrick Mahomes because that was so long ago. He was like the first one, and his is 10 years. Or do you? Because then you get a guy like, I think Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert are the range for Trevor. I think Joe Burrow at 55 is probably higher because he's been to a Super Bowl and some of the numbers he's put up. I think Herbert landing at the same spot that Lamar Jackson did seems to make some sense because he hasn't accomplished anything in the postseason. Now, Lamar, he's a two-time MVP. Now, he did this deal before he won last year's MVP. I think Josh Allen's fascinating. He's only at $43 million a year. So he should be up based on the way he's played compared to the rest of this list. Where on here is Trevor Lawrence going to fall, in your opinion? This is like the Price is Right. I mean, the Price is Right game. What's the one, like you go up or down, right? You got over-under type thing. There's I haven't watched Price is Right in a while.
Yeah, I haven't either.
47.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about.
No, I got you, man. I got you.
Let's keep this up, Kim, here. We're going to digest this.
Okay.
See, I believe he's going to come between, well, Lamar and Herbert are about the same deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be in between, right in between. I know there's not a lot of gap there. Him and Burrow. So I think it's like $54 million, $53.5 million. It's going to be 5 years around $270 million, whatever it is. Yeah. Just under Burrow.
You think it's going to be 5 years, first of all, before we get into what I think?
Yeah, so see, that was the other part of that conversation, right? Yeah. Is it really, would they do a 10-year deal? I think with the resume, I think it's got to be 5 years. I don't think you can do the 10-year deal. Like, look at these guys, and they wouldn't even commit a 10-year. Now, I'm not saying they even tried, but would you commit 10 years to Burrow? Not with his injury history. That's dangerous.
No, but also I think, I mean, once again, Mahomes is the unicorn here, but I think, listen, in Kansas City, they're like, we got this guy for 10 years, thank God. You know, like, absolutely, they're celebrating that. And I think I
don't mind a 10-year deal if he had gone to the playoffs this year and continued to ascend. I think it's hard to sell that and say, oh, yeah, he deserves a 10-year.
No, for sure, but it can be a discount though down the line.
It could,
you know. Yeah, okay. So for the sake of the Joe, let's say 5 years for Trevor Lawrence. I think he's gonna bump in between. Man, I mean, does he reset the market? I think Trevor Lawrence is gonna bump in between Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow.
Yeah, so you're kind of with me.
Various age. Yeah, I mean, same age and everything.
So you don't think, like, I've been a big believer that if you're going to sign a guy right now, you're just going to reset the market. The market is what the market is. You're going to be $55, $56 million, and you're the next guy in line. Like, that's what happens sometimes. But then I look at these guys, and I'm like, all right, well, maybe not. Because Josh Allen didn't necessarily reset the market, even though it was his time to get the deal coming off this big season. He slotted in. He was still less than Bosa or less than Watt or whatever else. So I think getting in between those guys makes some sense for Trevor. It's not that, hey, we're going to save $10 million and get him to a Kyler Murray type of contract.
Yeah.
But I think it slots pretty well right around. Honestly, I think Herbert's the best one because he's beaten Herbert a couple of times. He's gone farther than Herbert, and he makes the most sense to slot in at that price range.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and give me between Joe Burrow and it's hard for me to fathom that they're going to reset the market on this. Like, get to like the, I don't know, $57, $58 million a year.
I thought they might,
just
but
because
I'm doubting it too.
Yeah, just because like I felt like when Burrow got his contract, I think was that in 2021 or 22? 22, I think it would have been, right?
It would have been before. I think it was just before last season.
This was last year?
Yeah.
Okay, well, nevertheless.
Just before last season.
Okay. Looking at
maybe it was 2 now.
Yeah, because I think it was off the 35
It was Lamar
touchdown.
just got the one before last season.
So 22.
Yeah, 22.
Yeah, so coming off of a 35 touchdown, 12 interception campaign, 4,475 yards passing, and obviously went to a Super Bowl as well. Well, and this is the biggest thing, Brent. It's like when you gave Joe Burrow that money and you reset the market, it's like, all right, well, I can see him eventually maybe being the best quarterback in the NFL, set aside from Patrick Mahomes, right? I can't come with you yet on Trevor. So if I'm having this conversation, I have a hard time, and I get some rumors are out there, I have a hard time believing that you're going to reset the market then with Trevor Lawrence when, once again, and I know there's a lot of excuses, the injuries and everything, but like the numbers haven't indicated at least yet where it's like, yeah, this guy's going to be the best quarterback in the NFL.
I don't know this. So if you're Trevor's agent listening, let me put this out there. I don't know if this matters or not. I'm not sure. The
stats, or what are you saying?
No, what I'm about to say.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
See, in my opinion, but I think players are like this. I think this is very agent-driven stuff, right? When you want to reset markets and you want to keep it going for the next guy and everything else. And I think the players understand that, and obviously the players will take as much money as they can get. But I also think the players aren't really absorbed by the numbers. Like, I don't think Trevor really cares if he makes $50 million a year, $52 million a year, $55 million a year. I think he wants to be paid where he thinks he's at, but I don't think he cares that much about outdoing Joe Burrow. Like, I really don't think he cares. And I might be wrong, but that's my look at it. I also he doesn't have one of the eight, like these, like a mega agent. He's a good agent, I think it's a smaller clientele. Still, I don't know what he's done since but when he came into the league with Trevor, it was a smaller agency. And I wonder if that makes a difference in the negotiations. Not to say you get less, but are you less consumed by resetting the market and doing stuff for my other client over here that's going to sign next year? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how that part works. Mm-hmm. But I wonder if just the space Trevor's in, the guy we know he is, think he is, like not consumed by this stuff, and maybe even the if you will, and I'm not trying to disrespect, the smaller agency, not like a Mulligetta or somebody who's resetting the market all over the place with Jalen and then this guy and this guy and this guy. I wonder if that factors in at all to where this lands. I really don't know. I'm just curious.
Let me ask you this. I mean, we praise the outside-the-box thinking, right? One would say that the Patrick Mahomes contract was outside-the-box thinking. If you're Shad Khan, if you're Trent Baalke, could you front load this whole thing? A lot more guaranteed money, but then take away, like maybe put him more like a Deshaun Watson deal. Maybe it's like 40-something and some change a year, but you got like a giant signing bonus out of good faith. Could you do that?
Yeah, I think you could. Yeah, I think you could.
I mean, because
the signing bonuses, I don't know where Lamar's is at. So Lamar's the latest. My guess is he broke a record. Him or Jalen Hurts broke a record in guaranteed money.
Sure. Because here's where I go with this. And, we always talk about the rookie contract with the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Right? Because it allows you to do so much more in terms of players. Well, if Trevor Lawrence is getting $52 million, $55 million, whatever the case may be a year, that's going to affect the roster a little bit, right, of what you can do going forward. If you are able to front load it, pay him, that giant signing bonus and kind of say, hey, man, we trust you. We trust that you want to be great. We're going to front load this whole thing. We want you to be here. We took you number one overall for a reason. And then put him like in more of a Deshaun Watson, Kyler Murray range. Well, no, that leaves you a little more flexible, I feel like, for free agency and signing other guys as well.
Yeah, it could. I'll piggyback off what you said. I don't know where it lands. I don't know if that's the creative nature of it. But I've said this for a long time. I believe two things. I believe really one thing. I believe Shad Khan can't wait to write this check. I believe he really loves having Trevor Lawrence part of the organization. I think he believes in him. I think there's an admiration for who's the face of the franchise here in Jacksonville. And now, not to the tune of write him a blank check. I'm just saying I think there are some checks you're a little hesitant to write, and then there are other ones like, yeah, this is what we've been waiting for. We've been waiting in Jacksonville to write a check like this for a guy that we believe in that can be the quarterback of this franchise. That's where I'm coming from when I say I think he can't wait to write the check. I've also always had in my thought process that Shad will be very creative in it. Shad's an outside-the-box thinker. Shad's a bit of a pioneer in many respects in his own business world, but even some of the things he's done in the NFL, from going to London to giant scoreboards. I don't know where the creativity comes in this contract, but I believe there will be some. And so, like, you take Patrick Mahomes' deal. That was a very creative contract. That's what I'm talking about. When you go a decade out, that's a baseball contract. That's not a football contract. And so I think there's something like that we're going to see in the Trevor contract that is a little outside the box than the rest of them. I don't know what that means. I just think there is going to be some of it.
They're going to make him a part owner of AEW since Tony Khan's on the shelf.
Well,
this has all been a storyline for Trevor Lawrence's contract. The Young Bucks attacking Tony Khan, putting him in a neck brace, has all been leading up to a Trevor Lawrence contract extension. You heard it here first.
That might be the twist.
Put it in the books.
That might be the twist. So
put it in the books.
So anyway, I think... Listen, I think it's coming soon enough. I think when it does happen, I think there's another story to tell. Like, Patrick Mahomes is invested in, like, the Kansas City Royals and soccer teams, and Tom Brady and others are doing that.
Brent,
like, what's Trevor going to get into?
I just said AEW.
You might be right. That actually might be part of the storyline.
Trevor Lawrence is all elite, man.
It'll be interesting. But I'm telling you, there's going to be something in this deal that is a little different. I'm just convinced of it.
Yeah, I hope so.
I don't know, but I'm just convinced of it.
I hope so.
I don't even know what they can do. I don't know what that means. You know what I mean? But I think it's something in it that kind of is like, hey, that was kind of cool.
Do you think it sets a precedent?
I don't know if it will set a precedent with everybody because I'm not sure everybody thinks like Shad thinks, right? As we thought the Patrick Mahomes contract might set a precedent. It really hasn't.
Yeah.
Nobody else is doing 10-year deals.
Yeah, but nobody else is Patrick Mahomes.
I'm just saying, but it didn't set a precedent.
It's true.
So we'll see. Let's take one more time out here in the show. Brent Austen Show rolls on, and we'll put a bow on this thing on a Monday, a beautiful one here in Jacksonville. It's getting hot, by the way. Happy summer in Northeast Florida. Good to have you along on the Brent Austen Show on the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 network. In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Shacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
The boys in blue are back as the Jacksonville Armada men's under-23 team kicked off the 2024 season this past weekend on the road at Naples United FC. In his debut appearance for the Fleet, Luke Granitor scored the game's lone goal just before halftime on a scramble in front of the net. The rising junior at UNF is happy to be back on the field after an injury sidelined him in the summer of 2023.
Having the opportunity to play was just awesome. I had some nerves, obviously, because a year coming, but really thankful just to be out on the field for the Armada.
Next up for the Armada is the home opener on Saturday, May 11th at Jacksonville University's Southern Oaks Stadium. That matchup with Global Soccer Pathways kicks off at 7 p.m. Tickets are available on the web at jacksonvillearmada.com, and those who put down a season ticket reservation for next year's MLS Next Pro season get free admission to all NPSL and WPSL home games this summer. We'll see you at Southern Oaks Stadium on Saturday.
The UNF softball team clinched the 2 seed with a series win this weekend. That means they will get a double bye in the ASUN tournament. They will play later in the week with hopes of winning a championship and an NCAA berth. The beach volleyball team did that and won its first ever NCAA tournament match by sweeping Chattanooga. They would eventually lose to top seed USC, but an historic season for the Ospreys. The UNF golf team headed west for the NCAA tournament. Nick Gabrocek winning Player of the Year in the ASUN for a 4th time. And congrats to the spring sports graduates. Get everything UNF sports at unfospreys.com.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jax, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jax is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jax 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
Everyone loves a good game night. Here you don't have to be the host. You don't have to clean up. They bring the food and drinks to you, and you can watch whatever you want on the big screens. It's more than a card room. It's a night full of fun with friends. Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and now the newest location here in St. Augustine, right off 95 at exit 311. A brand new clean room, a full bar and menu, my favorite sushi in town. And I love the fries too. You don't have to just play poker at Best Bet. That's why I come over here to the table games and play one-card poker. That's a pretty good card and a win. One-card poker is like war as a kid, you against the dealer. And this isn't the only fun table game to play. A friendly staff, a lot of fun. It's a good night out at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and the newest location in St. Augustine. You can be a serious player or a novice. It doesn't matter. If winning equals fun, you're a winner every time at Best Bet. I'll save you a seat, and I'll see you down here at Best Bet St. Augustine.
Do you have ugly concrete around your home or business? Are you tired of concrete that is cracked, stained, or just plain ugly? Spartan Coatings' range of products provides a surface that is non-porous, easy to clean, antibacterial, and slip-resistant, all with superior durability.
Living in Florida nearly my whole life, I know the toll our weather can take on a garage floor. That's why I had Matt and the crew from Spartan Coatings transform this space. And the best part? They did it in one day.
It was a professional process from step one. The polyurea and polyaspartic system provides superior flexibility, is 4 times stronger than epoxy coatings, and will withstand temperatures high and low. Plus, it comes with a 20-year warranty. Whether it's a garage floor, patio, pool deck, driveway, or your interior flooring, Spartan Coatings has you covered. To get started transforming your ugly concrete surfaces, call 904-671-3930 or visit SpartanCoatings.com today for your free quote.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Well, they're rolling in the next set of trucks. We saw this shot earlier, and nobody was in there. Now the tractor trailers are coming in for George Strait. It's been fun to watch the build-up and breakdown of the concerts the last couple weeks.
So George Strait is this weekend then? Or
yeah, I think it's Saturday night. Okay. I think it's a one-show deal Saturday night.
And are you going to it?
Nah, I don't think so. Although I thought about it. I don't know how it's selling. I'm not sure if you can still get tickets or whatever. Maybe. I don't know what's going on this weekend. I haven't looked ahead.
Okay. You can come to Rockville with me.
Is Welcome to Rockville's this week?
Yeah.
That's in Daytona still?
Correct.
That used to be in Jax.
Yeah, not ideal being in Daytona, but what are you going to do?
It's at the Speedway.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's... What is it? Have you been there before at the Speedway?
No, I've never been to the Speedway. No, but it's just you have to drive back. Yeah. Like I'd rather just go to.
Who's at Rockville this week?
So I will be going to Limp Bizkit, obviously, and then Slipknot. I mean, there's other bands there as well, but those are the two I'm going for.
That's a multi-day?
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Maybe I think Thursday too. Actually,
yeah, it's kind of a big deal when Jacksonville lost that, right?
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, I think
it's a bummer.
I kind of remember it being.
I'm very curious to see. Like I said, I've never been to the one in Daytona. I'm sure it's gonna be kind of toasty. If it's gonna be like by the track and stuff, or is it on the in? I don't know. I guess we'll find out, Brent.
I would suspect it would be more infield.
Yeah,
could put more people in. But it's kind of weird because when I go down there too, I don't know what it looks like when there's not a bunch of like RVs and everything.
Yeah.
In the infield.
Yep.
So Daniel says, let's see, we got some Trevor things. If I'm Jags, I'm offering Trevor a 5-6 year contract. $200, $300 million deal, depends on how good he does. He might have to do very well in practice to get this deal now. I mean, because they could sign him before the season. He'll be paid like a top 10 elite quarterback. Yeah, I absolutely believe that, YB. 50 to Trevor, 30 to Allen, plus the 2 wide receivers. 3 defensive players will represent 60% of the cap, 40% for 46 other players. So those other 46 players mean nothing and deserve nothing. Well, I'm not sure it's nothing, but that is a lot of cap space in certain players. And by the way, that's not necessarily meaning that annual cap space is on those players only. That fluctuates. Like you could pay $50 million a year and $30 to Josh, so $80 million right now to those 2 guys, and they are taking up like none of the cap space.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful with how the numbers shake out there, and everybody's playing that game.
No, for sure. Like this is why, once again, I'm a big proponent of just waiting to see what he can do this year. Because I think that can help clarify a lot of things, bro.
By the way, though, just one final thought in our last minute. If you pay him 52, let's just say, and you get that, you're right under Burrow, you're right at Herbert, whatever, 52, 53. If he goes and shows balls out,
okay,
now it's going to go up to 60.
Okay. And what happens if you pay him the Burrow money and he doesn't ball out?
Then we'll be talking about what we were talking about earlier in the show with a bunch of other guys in 2008 and 2018.
Cool. We'll see you there.
This is
Can't wait.
2024, and this is different.
Okay. It just feels different, huh?
Just feels different.
This feels different.
Hey, fun show today.
That's going to be the slogan. The Jags.
It just feels different.
Just feels different. Don't it feel different this year? Feels a little different.
I like that.
I like that.
Here we go.
We found it, Brent.
Something. Have a good rest of your Monday, everybody. Hope it feels different. We'll be back at it tomorrow. 6 a.m. with Miller and Moulton, 10 a.m. with Brent and Austin on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.